Chapter 2605. Rules. Upon hearing Chen Xianba's question, Duan Lingtian shifted his gaze to Chen Xianba. He stared at Chen Xianba for a moment before he said unhurriedly, "Commander, rules are made by people, right? You're the Black Dragon Army's commander. It's up to you to decide if I've broken the rules today." Duan Lingtian narrowed his eyes slightly when he reached the end of his sentence. "Captain Duan Lingtian, what do you want from the Black Dragon Army?" Chen Xianba asked in a deep voice. After witnessing Duan Lingtian's strength, he could tell that Duan Lingtian was not weak at all. Not only was Duan Lingtian's strength not inferior to his, it was even possible that Duan Lingtian was stronger than him. Would such a person be willing to serve as a Chiliarch in the Black Dragon Army willingly? Naturally, even if Duan Lingtian was stronger than him, he was not worried about losing his position as the Black Dragon Army's commander. After all, becoming the Black Dragon Army's commander was not as simple as being a decurion, centurion, or Chiliarch. According to the Black Dragon Army's rules, as long as one was strong enough, one would be promoted. However, the Black Dragon Army's commander was personally appointed by the city governor of Bloody Spectre City. Unless the city governor approved and gave the order, it was impossible to replace Chen Xianba as the Black Dragon Army's commander. "I'm looking for a place to cultivate," Duan Lingtian said as he opened his eyes. From the beginning until the end, Chen Xianba had been staring at Duan Lingtian, as though he was trying to figure something out from Duan Lingtian's eyes. However, he was destined to be disappointed. Duan Lingtian's eyes were as calm as an ancient well. He did not reveal any emotions at all. There's nothing in the Black Dragon Army that's worth his attention. After thinking for a while, Chen Xianba could not figure out what Duan Lingtian was planning to do to the Black Dragon Army. In the end, he decided not to think about it anymore. After looking at Duan Lingtian for a while, he turned around and left the Valley of Ares. Chen Xianba's departure clearly showed his attitude toward Duan Lingtian's killing of Jian Xiaoping. He would not pursue the matter. The black armored soldiers in the Valley of Ares were not surprised by Chen Xianba's departure. Although the commander of the Black Armored Army had never fought with Captain Duan Lingtian before, he was still a commander. However, based on Duan Lingtian's strength was comparable to Chen Xianba. Duan Lingtian might even be stronger than Chen Xianba. In other words, even if the commander of the Black Armored Army wanted to pursue the matter, he might not be able to do anything to Duan Lingtian. Unless Chen Xianba reported this matter to the city governor of Bloody Spectre City. However, if news of this reached the ears of the city governor of Bloody Spectre City, he would not hold Duan Lingtian accountable, as long as Duan Lingtian did not do anything that would harm the interests of Bloody Spectre City. After all, in the eyes of the city governor of Bloody Spectre City, Duan Lingtian was not worth much. After all, Jian Xiaoping, who was killed by Duan Lingtian, could not be compared to Duan Lingtian. Therefore, even if Chen Xianba reported this matter to the city governor of Bloody Spectre City, he would not be able to do anything about it. The city governor of Bloody Spectre City was not surprised at all. After Chen Xianba left, everyone in the Valley of Ares turned to look at Duan Lingtian. "Captain Duan Lingtian, I didn't expect you to be so secretive. To think that Jian Xiaoping said you're a violet moon heavenly celestial. He must be blind. That's right. That Jian Xiaoping deserved to die. It's his greatest fortune to die in your hands, Captain Duan Lingtian." Captain Hu Ji and Kai Wenyu immediately flew forward and stood in front of Duan Lingtian. They seemed to be very enthusiastic. Duan Lingtian sneered inwardly when he saw Hu Ji and Kai Wenyu's attitude. When Jian Xiaoping had said he was only a violet moon heavenly celestial, these two fellows had turned hostile faster than flipping the pages of a book. They were just short of telling him that they did not want to be friends with Duan Lingtian. Due to this reason, Duan Lingtian completely ignored their enthusiasm. Ignoring Hu Ji and Kai Wenyu's embarrassment, Duan Lingtian flew up to the other two captains, Zhao Dongxing and Qin Yu, and greeted them. "Captain Zhao Dongxing, Captain Qin Yu, I'm in a hurry to cultivate. I'll take my leave first." "Take care, Captain Duan Lingtian," Zhao Dongxing and Qin Yu hurriedly replied. Previously, Duan Lingtian was only an ordinary captain to them. However, at this moment, they no longer dared to treat Duan Lingtian as an ordinary captain. After the battle earlier, they could see that Duan Lingtian's strength was not weak at all. Based on what they saw, Duan Lingtian's strength was not inferior to the Black Dragon Army's Lord Commander. After greeting Zhao Dongxing and Qin Yu, Duan Lingtian turned to look at the Black Dragon Army soldiers. Under their excited gazes, Duan Lingtian nodded at them before he left the Valley of Ares. Whoosh! Whoosh! As soon as Duan Lingtian left, Hu Ji and Kai Wenyu followed suit. After all, they were in an awkward situation. They took the initiative to greet Duan Lingtian, and even tried to flatter him. However, Duan Lingtian ignored them. Although they were dissatisfied with this, they didn't dare to show it. Based on the strength that Duan Lingtian had displayed earlier, Duan Lingtian was not someone they could afford to offend. After Qin Yu and Zhao Dongxing left, the soldiers of the Black Dragon Army in the Valley of the War God were like wild horses that had broken free of their reins. I didn't expect our new captain, Duan Lingtian, to be so powerful. I'm afraid his strength is not inferior to the Lord Commander's. A centurion was the first to exclaim. His words immediately gained the approval of many people. Indeed, I wonder why someone as powerful as Duan Lingtian would want to join the Black Dragon Army. Didn't you hear him say that he's looking for a place to cultivate? Apart from the City Lord's cultivation room, the tents of the Black Dragon Army's generals and Kiliarchs, and the tents of the Silverworm Army's generals and Kiliarchs are the best places to cultivate. Now that you mention the Silverworm Army, I'm curious. When the Silverworm Army finds out that we have a Chiliarch who isn't any weaker than our Black Dragon Army's Lord Commander, what expression will they have? It'll definitely be exciting. In the Valley of Ares, the Black Dragon Army was in an uproar. None of them left even after a long time had passed. Their conversation revolved around the new Chiliarch of the Black Dragon Army. Chapter 26:12. The Silverworm Army's camp was located northeast of Bloody Spectre City. Whether it was heading to Bloody Spectre City or the Black Dragon Army's camp southwest of Bloody Spectre City, they were on the same route. This route was the only route from the Silverworm Army's camp to the Bloody Spectre City and the Black Dragon Army's camp. Unless they intentionally took a detour, they would usually take this route. And now on this path, a tall purple figure stood in the air. His eyes were calmly looking in the northeast direction, as if there was something he was waiting for. The purple figure was none other than Duan Lingtian, who had returned to Bloody Spectre City after bidding farewell to the 10 soldiers of the Black Dragon Army. Although Duan Lingtian passed by the Bloody Spectre City, he did not enter it. He flew above Bloody Spectre City and arrived at a place that was still some distance away from the Silver Dragon Army's camp. He hovered in the air and waited patiently. It was as if he was waiting for something. It also seemed like it was waiting for someone. About half an hour later, he's here. In the blink of an eye, Duan Lingtian, who had been standing there for half an hour without any change in his expression, raised his eyebrows as he thought to himself, "What a coincidence!" Whoosh! Almost at the same time as Duan Lingtian thought to himself, the sound of something breaking through the air could be heard. It was coming towards Duan Lingtian. In the blink of an eye, it was less than a kilometer away from Duan Lingtian. The sound of something breaking through the air was made by a person who was traveling at an extremely fast speed. After this person discovered Duan Lingtian, he suddenly slowed down and quickly stopped. When he came to a complete stop, he was only 100 meters away from Duan Lingtian. And the reason why he stopped was because he realized that Duan Lingtian had been staring at him the moment he appeared, giving him the feeling that the Duan Lingtian had been waiting for him. The Silverworm Army's commander, Miao Lailong? Duan Lingtian raised his brows and asked indifferently, as he looked at the 2-meter-tall burly man with a face full of stubble. The burly man in front of Duan Lingtian resembled the owner of Laifeng Restaurant, Miao Laifeng, the wife of Yang Kongping, a Chiliarch of the Silverworm Army. For this reason, It was not difficult for him to guess who this person was. This was the person he was waiting for. The Silverworm Army's commander, Miao Lai Long. Who are you? Miao Lai Long raised his thick eyebrows when he heard the purple-robed young man say his name. His voice was as loud as a bell, and it was deafening to the ears. Miao Lai Long, Miao Lai Long's Miao Lai Feng. Duan Ling Tian replied calmly when he heard Miao Lai Long's question. Swoosh. As soon as Duan Ling Tian finished speaking, Miao Lai Long's expression changed drastically. His eyes widened as he asked, "You're Duan Ling Tian, the new Chiliarch of the Black Dragon Army?" Today, when the 10 soldiers of the Black Dragon Army mentioned Duan Ling Tian's actions in the Valley of Ares, they had mentioned Duan Ling Tian's name as well. For this reason, those who knew Duan Ling Tian as a Chiliarch of the Black Dragon Army knew his name as well. As soon as Miao Lai Long finished speaking, his celestial origin energy surged out of his body like a wild horse that had escaped its reins. His celestial origin energy surged out of his body like a ball of flame that shot up into the sky. His aura was terrifying. At the same time, his eyes that were as big as a gong that was staring at Duan Ling Tian burned with fury. It was so furious that it felt as though it could burn anything. Miao Lai Long's face that was covered with stubbles trembled slightly due to his anger. Duan Ling Tian was right. I've heard from Tong Zheng that the commander of the Silverworm Army is a Green Sun Golden Celestial. His assist-type divine ability alone is enough to raise his celestial origin energy to the level of an Indigo Sun Golden Celestial. With just a thought, Miao Lai Long's figure had already traversed half the distance between Duan Ling Tian and himself. Buzz! 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 The sound of a saber buzzing rang in the air. A thick and broad saber appeared in Miao Lai Long's hand. As soon as the saber appeared, it was shrouded by his celestial origin energy. A saber ray that was more than 100 feet long shot out of the saber. Wherever this over 10 feet long blade ray passed, countless tiny blade rays would whiz out with it. It was like 100 flowers blooming. It was an exceptionally beautiful sight. Duan Ling Tian, I've heard from my sister that you're as strong as He Jin Kuan, the first captain of the Black Dragon Army. Now try me. As soon as Miao Lai Long's voice rang in the air, the saber ray on his saber shot toward Duan Ling Tian. Buzz! The saber ray streaked across the sky, and its target was Duan Ling Tian. It was as if it carried the force to split mountains and rivers, and it wanted to slash Duan Ling Tian into two. Humph! Faced with Miao Lai Long's preemptive strike, Duan Ling Tian narrowed his eyes and snorted coldly. Swoosh! 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 Following that, Duan Ling Tian's celestial origin energy surged out of his body as soon as Miao Lai Long appeared. It transformed into tens of thousands of sword rays that formed a sword formation before it transformed into a gigantic sword. At the same time, Duan Ling Tian brought out a celestial sword and turned it into a part of the sword formation. At the same time, the gigantic sword that was formed by the sword formation shone even brighter than before. Naturally, this celestial sword was not the Devata artifact, the 7 orifices exquisite sword, that had merged with Duan Ling Tian's body. Although the 7 orifices exquisite sword had lost its sword soul, and was no longer as powerful as a Devata artifact, it was still comparable to a top celestial weapon. Duan Ling Tian did not plan to use the 7 orifices exquisite sword unless it was absolutely necessary. Swoosh! 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 With just a thought from Duan Ling Tian, the gigantic sword formed from the sword formation met Miao Lai Long's saber strike head-on. It was as though it had received an order from Duan Ling Tian. Duan Ling Tian's saber shone brilliantly as he slashed at the gigantic sword. Miao Lai Long's cultivation base was at the Green Sun Golden Celestial stage. When he cast his assist-type divine ability, his strength would increase by 2 levels. Moreover, his saber was a celestial weapon that contained offensive divine abilities and celestial methods. Currently, his strength was 5 levels higher than a Green Sun Golden Celestial without his celestial methods, divine abilities and celestial weapons. Since Duan Ling Tian's cultivation base was at the Blue Moon Heavenly Celestial stage, his assist-type divine ability would increase his strength by 2 levels. The 99 heavenly veins in his body would increase his strength by another 2 levels. The Sovereign Heart Sword, offensive divine ability, and Celestial Sword would increase his strength by 3 levels. Currently, his strength was 11 levels higher than a Blue Moon Heavenly Celestial without his celestial methods, divine abilities, and celestial weapons. There was a difference of 6 levels between a Blue Moon Heavenly Celestial and a Green Sun Golden Celestial. If this was the case, the strength of Duan Lingtian's gigantic sword was on par with the strength of Miao Lailong's saber. However, there was a difference of 1 stage between a Heavenly Celestial and a Golden Celestial. Chapter 26:13. A Heavenly Celestial, who had just ascended to the spirit overarching heaven a little over half a month ago, is only slightly weaker than me? Miao Lailong, the commander of the Silverworm army, could not help but widen his eyes when he saw the energy contained in Duan Lingtian's gigantic sword. His heart was filled with shock as well. No wonder Kong Ping couldn't even last 1 round against him. His strength is only slightly weaker than mine. Miao Lailong thought to himself. Kong Ping was none other than Yang Kong Ping. Miao Lailong had planned to hold back at the critical moment, but at this moment, he realized there was no need for him to hold back at all. Even if he did not hold back, he would not be able to kill Kong Ping with just 1 strike. Although Miao Lailong had left the Silverworm army's camp in a huff, he had no intention of killing Duan Lingtian. He only wanted to capture Duan Lingtian and bring him back to the Silverworm army's camp to avenge his sister. Then, he would be able to snatch the brilliant celestial methods and divine abilities from Duan Lingtian. A Heavenly Celestial who had just ascended to the spirit overarching heaven a little over half a month ago is at most an Orange Moon Heavenly Celestial. For an Orange Moon Heavenly Celestial to possess such strength, his celestial methods and divine abilities must be top tier, even in the Devata realms, right? Miao Lailong's eyes lit up when he thought about this. A hint of excitement could be seen on his face. Buzz. At the same time, the saber ray from Miao Lailong's celestial saber landed on the gigantic sword formed by Duan Lingtian's sword formation and collided with the gigantic sword. When the 2 forces collided, there was a momentary silence. After a few moments, boom, rumble, an earth-shattering explosion rang in the air as the energy from Duan Lingtian's gigantic sword collided with the energy from Miao Lailong's celestial saber. It was a white-hot battle. At first, the 2 of them were evenly matched. However, the power of Duan Lingtian's giant sword began to run out of strength and gradually fell into a disadvantageous position. You're just a heavenly immortal who ascended to the spirit overarching heaven half a month ago, yet you're able to force me, Miao Lailong, to use my full strength. Even if you're defeated today, you should be proud. Miao Lailong said to Duan Lingtian, as though he was the victor of the battle. It's still not certain who will be the one to lose. As soon as Miao Lailong finished speaking, Duan Lingtian, who had a solemn expression on his face, suddenly laughed. Miao Lailong had a bad feeling when he heard Duan Lingtian's words and saw Duan Lingtian smile. Could it be that this kid still has some tricks up his sleeve? You're deliberately mystifying things. Although Miao Lailong had a bad feeling about this, he did not hesitate to say that Duan Lingtian was deliberately mystifying things. Didn't your subordinates tell you not to use your celestial weapon in front of me? The smile on Duan Lingtian's face turned into a sneer in just a blink of an eye. At the same time, a mysterious aura extended from the gigantic sword that was formed from the sword formation. The aura spread and covered a large area in just a blink of an eye. Submission of 10,000 soldiers. Miao Lailong and the celestial saber in his hand were shrouded by the aura that spread in all directions. In just a blink of an eye, the celestial saber flew out of Miao Lailong's hand and was pulled into Duan Lingtian's sword formation by Miao Lailong's mysterious aura. How's this possible? What kind of technique is this? Miao Lailong only regained his senses when his celestial weapon was taken away and his hand was injured. An expression of disbelief appeared on his face, as though he had just seen a ghost. At this moment he recalled something. More than half a month ago, when Yang Kong Ping, the Chiliarch under his command, reported to him about the Ascender, He had mentioned that the ascender knew a technique that could allow him to steal celestial weapons. However, at that time, Miao Lai Long had thought his centurion was too weak. That was why his celestial weapon was taken away. However, it seemed like that was not the case. Duan Lingtian indeed knew a mysterious technique to steal celestial weapons. Boom! Rumble! Initially, Miao Lai Long had the upper hand. However, after his celestial weapon was taken away by Duan Lingtian, he lost a lot of his strength and gradually fell into a disadvantageous position. In the end, his strength was completely suppressed. Bang! With a loud explosion, a huge sword ray shot out and shattered Miao Lai Long's hastily cast defensive technique. Miao Lai Long was sent flying. Barf! Miao Lai Long, who had been sent flying, spat out a large mouthful of blood at the same time. When he finally regained his footing, he heard the sound of wind whistling in the air. Oh no! Miao Lai Long's expression changed drastically, and his heart trembled. Whoosh! At this moment, Duan Lingtian's figure appeared in front of Miao Lai Long like a ghost. Tens of thousands of sword rays appeared around Duan Lingtian's body. The tips of the sword rays were pointed at Miao Lai Long. The sword rays were scattered around Duan Lingtian's body, and they seemed to be connected to each other. If you dare to kill me, Lord City Governor won't let you go, Miao Lai Long said in a deep voice as he looked at Duan Lingtian. Duan Lingtian glanced at Miao Lai Long indifferently. Although Miao Lai Long seemed calm, Duan Lingtian could see a hint of fear in the depths of Miao Lai Long's eyes. Hand over the yellow-grade cultivation method you've mastered, and I'll spare your life. Duan Lingtian did not beat around the bush. He had come here for the graded cultivation technique that Miao Lai Long had imparted to him by the city lord of Bloody Spectre City. If he could master the cultivation method, not only would his cultivation speed increase by leaps and bounds, but his assist-type divine ability, the elementary devouring tactic, would also become more powerful. After all, according to Hua Lao, the three-legged golden crow, the pagoda spirit of the seven treasures exquisite pagoda, the elementary devouring tactic of the seven treasures exquisite pagoda. The elementary devouring tactic was considered a rare and amazing assist-type divine ability, even in the Devata realms. Impossible! Miao Lai Long's eyes widened in shock. He did not expect Duan Lingtian would want his cultivation method. He instinctively turned around and refused. What a joke! When the city governor of Bloody Spectre City had passed the cultivation method to him, he had warned him that if he dared to teach it to another person, he would not be able to escape the death penalty. At that time, not only would he be unable to stay in Bloody Spectre City, but he would also be unable to stay in Nine Spectres County. After all, it was a rule set by the Nine Spectres County, and the city governor of Bloody Spectre City had to abide by the rules set by the Nine Spectres County. If he passed the cultivation method to another person, he would not be able to escape the death penalty. Under such circumstances, how could he pass the cultivation method to another person? One had to know that even if it was his most beloved sister, he wouldn't dare to impart that cultivation technique to her. Impossible. Duan Lingtian sneered. Are you sure it's impossible? If you don't pass the cultivation method to me, you'll die today. If I pass the cultivation method to you, I won't be able to escape the death penalty, Miao Lai Long said in a deep voice. If you don't tell me and I don't tell you, who's going to find out? Could it be that you think I'm stupid enough to tell a third person about the cultivation method that you taught me? Wouldn't I be courting death then? Duan Lingtian said indifferently. I'll give you 10 breaths to think about it. If you're still unwilling or unable to make a decision after 10 breaths, I'll send you on your way. Duan Lingtian gave Miao Lai Long an ultimatum. If you kill me, there'll be no place for you in Bloody Spectre City and Nine Spectres County, Miao Lai Long said in a deep voice. He was reminding Duan Lingtian that he would have to pay a price for killing him. So what? At most, I'll leave Nine Spectres County. You should know that I've just ascended to the spirit overarching heaven. I don't have any attachments. Isn't the world my home? Duan Lingtian did not fall for Miao Lai Long's trick. Naturally, he knew that if he killed Miao Lai Long, he would not hesitate to kill Miao Lai Long. Upon hearing Duan Lingtian's words, Miao Lai Long's heart skipped a beat. He did not expect this would happen. He wanted to snatch Duan Lingtian's celestial methods and divine abilities. However, before he could do that, Duan Lingtian would snatch his cultivation method away. Moreover, if the cultivation method was leaked, he would not be able to escape the death penalty. However, for the sake of his life, he chose to compromise. I'll pass it to you. In just a few breaths, Miao Lailong gave in. A bright smile appeared on Duan Lingtian's face when he saw Miao Lailong's expression. He had obtained it. After obtaining the yellow-grade cultivation method from Miao Lailong, Duan Lingtian turned around and left. He kept his promise and did not kill Miao Lailong. It was not difficult for him to kill Miao Lailong. However, if he killed Miao Lailong, he would attract unnecessary trouble. The first trouble would be the city governor of Bloody Spectre City. Duan Lingtian was not afraid of the city governor of Bloody Spectre City. If he used the Devata artifact, the Seven Orifices exquisite sword, even if it was only as strong as a peak celestial weapon, he would be able to easily defeat, or even kill the city governor of Bloody Spectre City. However, he had to consider the trouble he would face if he killed the city governor of Bloody Spectre City. With his current strength, he might not be a match for the powerhouses in Nine Spectres County, even if he used the Seven Orifices exquisite sword. For this reason, if he killed Miao Lailong, it would be difficult for him to stay in Bloody Spectre City or Nine Spectres County, unless he was willing to hide in a remote place. But right now, there was no way he could just find a place to hide no matter what. He had to find a place with the best cultivation environment. Only then would he be able to raise his cultivation base as quickly as possible. Chapter 26:14. When Duan Lingtian returned to the Black Dragon Army's camp, he could hear the soldiers talking about him along the way. The soldiers of the Black Dragon Army were discussing Duan Lingtian's actions in Laifeng Restaurant in Bloody Spectre City. Most of the soldiers were worried about his safety since they felt Miao Lailong, the commander of the Silverworm Army, would not let him off so easily. Miao Lailong won't let me off. He has to have the guts to do so. Duan Lingtian shook his head and smiled before he returned to his tent. Although Duan Lingtian knew the Black Dragon Army soldiers were worried about his safety, because the strength he had displayed was enough to help the Black Dragon Army defeat the Silverworm Army in the future. In other words, he was valuable to the Black Dragon Army. However, he still felt warmth in his heart. The crystal clearance tactic. After Duan Lingtian returned to his tent, he took out a jade token. It was the jade token that Miao Lailong, the commander of the Silverworm Army, had used to record the yellow-grade cultivation method that Duan Lingtian had forced him to. The jade token contained the contents of the crystal clearance tactic. As long as Duan Lingtian spent some time, he would be able to master it. A graded cultivation method in the Devata realms. I'm really looking forward to it. Duan Lingtian took a deep breath to suppress the excitement in his heart before he began to cultivate according to the content recorded in the jade token. Since he had been cultivating the 9 dragons, war sovereign technique in the past, he needed some time to adapt to the crystal clearance tactic. Only then would he be able to change and solidify the celestial origin energy in his body. After closing his eyes, Duan Lingtian started to immerse himself in the cultivation of the crystal clearance technique, completely immersing himself in it and ignoring everything that was happening outside. Captain Duan Lingtian. After a while, Chen Xianba's voice rang in Duan Lingtian's ears again. I've heard about what you did in Laifeng Restaurant in Bloody Spectre City. You've crossed the line. You see, shouldn't we discuss how to deal with Miao Lailong's accusation? With his character, he'll definitely report this matter to Lord City Governor. Chen Xianba said. Duan Lingtian, who was fully immersed in his cultivation of the crystal clearance tactic, was interrupted by Chen Xianba. He opened his eyes abruptly, and a hint of impatience could be seen on his face. Commander, I'm at a critical juncture in my cultivation. Please don't disturb me before Miao Lailong comes to find me. Duan Lingtian said impatiently. Chen Xianba, the commander of the Black Dragon Army, was stunned when he heard Duan Lingtian's voice. It took him a while to regain his senses. Duan Lingtian's impatience gave him the feeling of the emperor is not anxious, but the eunuch is. And it caused him to be slightly speechless. Duan Lingtian is really... Chen Xianba thought to himself. Chen Xianba was speechless. However, since Duan Lingtian said he was at a critical juncture in his cultivation, he did not disturb him. However, Miao Lailong should be here by now, Chen Xianba thought to himself. On second thought, Chen Xuanba felt that something was amiss. Could it be that Miao Lailong went to the city governor's mansion before coming to the Black Dragon Army's camp? Chen Xianba did not expect Duan Lingtian to be defeated by Miao Lailong. Miao Lailong had just been defeated by Duan Lingtian and was even forced to hand over the graded cultivation method that the city governor of Bloody Spectre City had taught him. It was impossible for him to come looking for trouble with Duan Lingtian for the time being. In the Silverworm Army's camp. Brother, why did you come back so quickly? Miao Laifeng, who had been waiting for news in her tent, immediately walked up to Miao Lailong. How is it? Duan Lingtian, the captain of the Black Dragon Army. Did you manage to capture him? Miao Laifeng's eyes, which were narrowed by her fat, flashed with anticipation as she asked the question. Miao Lailong's expression darkened when he heard Miao Laifeng mention Duan Lingtian, the captain of the Black Dragon Army. A hint of hatred flashed in his eyes. Brother, what's wrong with you? At this moment, Miao Laifeng noticed something was amiss with Miao Lailong. Do you know who I met when I left the Silverworm Army's camp? Miao Lailong asked Miao Laifeng. Who? Miao Laifeng was stunned. She knew her brother would not bring this up for no reason. Duan Lingtian. Miao Lailong's eyes flashed coldly as he said. He intentionally blocked my path on the way from the Silverworm Army's camp to the Black Dragon Army's camp. What? Miao Laifeng was shocked. Duan Lingtian intentionally blocked your path. Did he have a death wish? Death wish. Miao Lailong shook his head and smiled self-deprecatingly. Laifeng, I almost didn't make it back. He found help. Was it Chen Xianba, the commander of the Black Dragon Army? Miao Laifeng's expression changed drastically. He didn't have help. Miao Lailong shook his head again. A hint of fear could be seen in his eyes as he said, he came alone. If he didn't have that mysterious technique that allows him to snatch other people's celestial weapons, I would have been stronger than him. However, when he used that ability to seize my immortal artifact, my strength was instead slightly inferior to his. You should know that at my level, a slight difference in strength is enough to determine the outcome of a battle. Miao Lailong said with a bitter smile on his face. What? His strength is even stronger than you, big brother? Miao Laifeng's huge and fat body trembled as an expression of disbelief appeared on her face. She shook her head, clearly unable to accept this fact. Yes. Miao Lailong nodded. Brother Lien, you're not a match for him. Are we just going to let this matter slide? Miao Laifeng could not accept this fact at all. Soon after, she seemed to have recalled something. Her eyes flashed fiercely as she looked at Miao Lailong and said, Brother, you said he's only slightly stronger than you. This means he's definitely weaker than the city governor of Bloody Spectre City. Brother, you should ask the city governor for an explanation. I don't believe he'll be able to do anything to the city governor. A vicious look appeared on Miao Laifeng's face as he spoke, and the light in his eyes grew sharper and sharper. No, Miao Lailong rejected Miao Laifeng's suggestion. Why? Miao Laifeng's expression changed rapidly. In just a blink of an eye, the viciousness on her face was replaced by sorrow. Brother, are we just going to let this matter slide? Brother, I can't accept this. I can't accept this. Laifeng, I understand how you feel, but I really can't go and look for Master City Governor. Once I do, that Duan Lingtian will expose the fact that I gave him the yellow grade cultivation method, and I'll be finished. Miao Lailong said with a bitter smile on his face. You should know that imparting the yellow grade cultivation method to another person is a crime punishable by death. Brother, why did you impart the cultivation method to him? Miao Laifeng's expression changed again. I had no choice. He said he would kill me if I didn't impart the cultivation method to him. Miao Lailong said. Miao Lailong said, he's a bachelor. He said he'll only leave Bloody Spectre City and Nine Spectres County after killing me. After all, he had just ascended to the spirit overarching heaven half a month ago. He has nothing to worry about. He has such profound celestial methods and divine abilities. Why doesn't he have a graded cultivation method? Miao Lai Feng could not figure out why Duan Lingtian would ask her brother for the cultivation method. I also feel that he must have a graded cultivation method, and it might even be more profound than the crystal clearance tactic. Perhaps, the reason he asked me to pass the cultivation method to him is to use it to threaten me, so that I won't dare to seek justice from the city governor for this matter. Miao Lai Long guessed. The more he thought about it, the more he felt he was right. Brother, I still can't accept this. Although Miao Lai Feng still said the same thing, her voice had weakened. Because she also knew that with the current situation, wanting to avenge her husband was simply more difficult than ascending to the heavens. Lai Feng, I know you're not willing to accept this, and I'm not willing to accept this as well. Bear with it for now. I'll see if I can borrow someone else's knife to kill him. Miao Lai Long comforted Miao Lai Feng. When he reached the end of his sentence, a hint of killing intent could be seen in his eyes. Whether it was the people from Bloody Spectre City or the Black Dragon Army's camp, they were certain Miao Lai Long, the commander of the Silverworm Army, would not let the matter rest after his brother-in-law was crippled by Captain Duan Lingtian of the Black Dragon Army. Most of the people in the Black Dragon Army's camp were worried about Duan Lingtian's safety. Most of the people in Bloody Spectre City were waiting to watch the show. However, as the days passed, the Silverworm Army's camp was completely peaceful. It was as though nothing had happened. In just a blink of an eye, a month had passed. A month ago, Duan Lingtian, the captain of the Black Dragon Army, had forcefully crippled Yang Kongping, the captain of the Silverworm Army, in a domineering manner. What's going on? This isn't Miao Lai Long, the commander of the Silverworm Army at all. Could it be that Miao Lai Long is in closed-door cultivation? Otherwise, how could he have kept his cool about what happened a month ago? Similar discussions could be heard everywhere in Bloody Spectre City. In the city governor's estate in Bloody Spectre City, in the main hall. Lai Long, rumors say that you're in closed-door cultivation. However, I know that even if you're in closed-door cultivation, if something happens to your sister, you'll come out immediately to share her burden. Lu Fenggu, the city governor of Bloody Spectre City, looked at Miao Lai Long, the commander of the Silverworm Army. Based on his words, it was clear he knew Miao Lai Long very well. Upon hearing this, Miao Lai Long did not reply. He only smiled awkwardly. You're here today to deliver the celestial stones the Silverworm Army mined this month? Chapter 26:15. Yes, Lord City Governor. Miao Lai Long nodded in response to Lu Fenggu's question. He had come to deliver the celestial stones that the Silverworm Army had mined last month to the city governor of Bloody Spectre City. Both the Silverworm Army and the Black Dragon Army were required to hand over 80% of the celestial stones they mined every month. The remaining 20% would be used to pay the soldiers. At the beginning of every month, the commanders of the Silverworm Army and the Black Dragon Army had to come to the city governor's estate to hand over the celestial stones. Miao Lai Long was here today to hand over the celestial stones. I heard that a month ago, Captain Duan Lingtian of the Black Dragon Army crippled one of your subordinates, Captain Yang Kongping. Yang Kongping is your brother-in-law. After the incident, your sister brought him to the Silverworm Army's camp immediately, Lu Fenggu said. Lu Fenggu looked at Miao Lai Long meaningfully before he asked, "Didn't your sister ask you to stand up for her husband? Aren't you going to stand up for your sister and brother-in-law? Lord City Governor." Miao Lai Long seemed to have expected this. As soon as Lu Fenggu finished speaking, he quickly replied, "I've already investigated the matter a month ago. It was my subordinate, Captain Yang Kongping, who was at fault. Even if he's at fault, don't you think Captain Duan Lingtian of the Black Dragon Army's actions are a little too much? Can you tolerate him?" Lu Fenggu asked with a smile on his face. He knew Miao Lai Long's temper very well. Not only was Yang Kongping a captain, but he was also Miao Lai Long's brother-in-law. Even if Yang Kongping was just a chiliarch under Miao Lai Long's command, Miao Lai Long would never let this matter rest. "I can't tolerate it. However, for the sake of Bloody Spectre City and Nine Spectres County, I've decided to tolerate it. Miao Lai Long said righteously. For the sake of Bloody Spectre City? For the sake of 9 Spectres County? Lu Fenggu was stunned. What do you mean? Lord Governor, do you know that Duan Lingtian, the Chiliarch of the Black Dragon Army, ascended from the mundane realm 1.5 months ago? Miao Lai Long said solemnly. I've heard about that. Lu Fenggu said nonchalantly. A month ago in Lai Feng Restaurant, the centurion under your command said that Duan Lingtian, the captain of the Black Dragon Army, had only ascended to the spirit overarching heaven half a month ago. Moreover, he said that Duan Lingtian came out from the immortal ascension pool. Ridiculous. A celestial immortal who came out of the celestial immortal ascension pool can be as powerful as Duan Lingtian. Lu Fenggu shook his head when he reached the end of his sentence. A person who had just ascended to the spirit overarching heaven and had just become a heavenly celestial had crippled a Chiliarch of the Silverworm Army? In his opinion, this was something that was utterly impossible. City Lord, doesn't seem to believe me? Miao Lai Long smiled bitterly. What? Do you believe me? Lu Fenggu asked. City Lord, although there's no lightning penalty oath in the Devata realms, I can't guarantee you with my life, Miao Lai Long said solemnly. Miao Lai Long looked at Lu Fenggu solemnly before he said, however, I'm willing to swear on my honor that Duan Lingtian ascended to the spirit overarching heaven 1.5 months ago. At that time, apart from my centurions and decurions, some of the people who ascended at the same time as Duan Lingtian saw him in the immortal ascension pool. If you're worried my men are lying, you can ask those who ascended at the same time as Duan Lingtian to verify this, Miao Lai Long said as he gave Lu Fenggu a suggestion. Lai Long, you've been my subordinate for many years. It's not that I don't believe you. When Lu Fenggu saw how serious Miao Lai Long was, to the extent that he was willing to let Lu Fenggu find an ascender to verify his theory, he began to waver. However, do you think that's possible? A heavenly celestial, who has just ascended to the spirit overarching heaven, is stronger than a Chiliarch under your command. If I'm not mistaken, your captain, Yang Kong Ping, is an orange sun golden celestial with extraordinary strength. Among the 10 captains under your command, he's ranked in the top 3. Let alone a heavenly celestial, who has just ascended to the spirit overarching heaven. Even a golden celestial, who has just ascended to the spirit overarching heaven, wouldn't be a match for Yang Kong Ping. Although Lu Fenggu was slightly shaken, he still found it hard to believe. Lord City Governor, as far as I know, the celestial methods and divine abilities that Duan Lingtian has mastered are extremely profound. Not only that, but he even knows a technique that allows him to snatch other people's celestial weapons. Half a month ago, 2 of my centurions fought with him and lost their celestial weapons. Miao Lai Long continued to say, it's because I'm certain he's a heavenly celestial who has mastered profound celestial methods and divine abilities, that I feel he's a great talent for Bloody Spectre City and 9 Spectres County. That's why I decided not to pursue the matter from a month ago. Miao Lai Long put on a righteous look again. Otherwise, with my temper, I wouldn't have let go of what happened a month ago. City Lord, if you want to confirm it with the people who ascended to the spirit overarching heaven with Duan Lingtian, you can follow me to the Silverworm Army's camp and confirm it with them. Miao Lai Long looked at Lu Fenggu solemnly as he said, those people have just ascended to the spirit overarching heaven for a month. In their eyes, you're much more powerful than me, the commander of the Silverworm Army. They won't lie to you because of me. Since you've said so much, I'll follow you. Lu Fenggu was beginning to believe Miao Lai Long's words. However, he still wanted to confirm it with Miao Lai Long. It was just as Miao Lai Long had said. For someone who had just ascended to the spirit overarching heaven, his authority as the city governor of Bloody Spectre City was far greater than the commander of the Silverworm Army. Therefore, it was impossible for the city governor of Bloody Spectre City to lie to him. Moreover, if Miao Lai Long's words were true, it would explain why Miao Lai Long did not make things difficult for Duan Lingtian. City Lord, this way please. Miao Lai Long's eyes flashed as he rose to his feet and gestured for Lu Fenggu to follow him. After a while Lu Fenggu made his move. Miao Long followed closely behind him. When Miao Long followed Lu Fenggu out of the city governor's mansion and Bloody Spectre City, a hint of smugness could be seen in the depths of his eyes as he thought to himself, "That's right." He thought to himself, "Duan Lingtian, this is just the beginning. If I have the chance, I'll spread the news that you possess a precious treasure. Of course, you'll have to get past the city lord first." A hint of viciousness flashed in the depths of Miao Long's eyes when he thought about this. Ever since Miao Long had witnessed Duan Lingtian's strength, he knew there was nothing he could do to Duan Lingtian. Moreover, Miao Long had taught Duan Lingtian a graded cultivation method. Since Duan Lingtian had something on him, he could not make things difficult for the city lord of Bloody Spectre City. However, even if he could not use the incident a month ago to make things difficult for the city governor of Bloody Spectre City, it did not mean he could not use the celestial methods and divine abilities that Duan Lingtian had mastered as bait to lure the city governor of Bloody Spectre City to deal with Duan Lingtian. He believed the city governor of Bloody Spectre City would definitely be interested in the various profound celestial techniques and divine abilities Duan Lingtian had mastered. No one could resist the temptation of immortal arts and divine abilities. The camp of the Black Dragon Army. At this moment, Duan Lingtian was still in closed-door cultivation. He had no idea what Miao Long, the commander of the Silverworm Army, was doing. In a month's time, he had grasped the basics of the new cultivation method, the crystal clearance method. At the same time, he could clearly feel that the celestial origin energy in his body had also become purer. He knew this was the effect of the crystal clearance tactic, a grade 1 cultivation method in the Devata realms, on his celestial origin energy. Apart from that, Duan Lingtian also discovered that the crystal clearance method was much better. Compared to the 9 Dragons War Sovereign technique in the mundane realm, the crystal clearance tactic's cultivation speed was more than twice as fast. One could clearly feel the increase in one's cultivation base. In just a blink of an eye, 2 weeks had passed. "I've made a breakthrough." Inside the tent, Duan Lingtian, who had been cultivating with his eyes closed, suddenly opened his eyes that were as bright as the stars. A hint of an excited smile appeared on his originally calm face in a timely manner. At this moment, Duan Lingtian had officially broken through and become an indigo moon heavenly celestial. He was only a step away from becoming a violet moon heavenly celestial, who was at the peak of the heavenly celestial stage. If I were to face Miao Long, the commander of the Silverworm Army, now, even if I don't use my celestial weapon, I'll still be able to defeat him easily. Duan Lingtian muttered to himself as he sensed the transformation of his celestial origin energy. Currently, his celestial origin energy had also broken through to the next level. Naturally, if this was all, he would not be able to defeat Miao Long without using his celestial weapon or taking his celestial weapon. However, after this cultivation session, Duan Lingtian's strength had improved a lot. His celestial origin energy had been tempered by the crystal clearance tactic, a graded cultivation method in the Devata realm. Now that he had cast the assist-type divine ability, the elementary devouring tactic, the strength of his celestial origin energy had increased as well. It was completely different from before. I wonder how much my celestial origin energy will increase if I cast the assist-type divine ability, the elementary devouring tactic? Out of curiosity, Duan Lingtian quickly cast the elementary devouring tactic and began to devour the heaven and earth spirit energy in the area around his tent. Fortunately, the heaven and earth spirit energy in the area was abundant. Chapter 26:16. My celestial origin energy has only risen by 3 levels? It's only 1 level higher than before? Duan Lingtian cast the assist-type divine ability, the elementary devouring tactic, to test it out. However, he could not help but frown when he saw the result. He was greatly disappointed. According to Hualao, my assist-type divine ability, the elementary devouring tactic, shouldn't be so weak. Even the assist-type divine ability cast by the Silverworm Army's commander, Miao Long, can raise his celestial origin energy by 3 levels. However, my elementary devouring tactic is only slightly stronger than his assist-type divine ability? Duan Ling Tian was bewildered for a long time, and still didn't dare believe it. Initially, he had planned to continue cultivating after testing the elementary devouring tactic's strength. However, he was no longer in the mood to cultivate. Lord City Governor, why are you here? At this moment, Chen Xianba, the commander of the Black Dragon Army, called out to Duan Ling Tian. His voice caught Duan Ling Tian's attention. City Governor? Could it be the City Governor of Bloody Spectre City? Why is the City Governor of Bloody Spectre City here? Could it be because of what happened last time? No. Miao Lai Long, the commander of the Silverworm Army, passed the crystal clearance tactic to me. This means I have something against him. It's impossible for him to take the risk and gamble his life just to take revenge on me. Although Duan Ling Tian did not have much contact with Miao Lai Long, he could tell Miao Lai Long was not a coward. He was certain Miao Lai Long was not someone who would risk his life to take him down with him. I'm looking for Duan Ling Tian, the captain of the Black Dragon Army. Soon after, another voice that Duan Ling Tian had never heard before resonated from outside. As soon as the person spoke, he said he was looking for him. The city governor of Bloody Spectre City, Lu Fenggu. Although Duan Ling Tian had not met the city governor of Bloody Spectre City, he had heard a lot about him. He knew the city governor of Bloody Spectre City was the strongest powerhouse in Bloody Spectre City. The city governor of Bloody Spectre City was a subordinate of the county governor of Nine Spectres County. If it's not because of that incident, why is Lu Fenggu looking for me? Duan Ling Tian's heart was filled with confusion. Lord City Governor. Lord City Governor. At the same time, a few more familiar voices entered into Duan Ling Tian's ears through the tent. Duan Ling Tian could tell the voices belonged to the other 4 captains of the Black Dragon Army, who were currently in the camp. Hu Ji Kai Wenyu, Zhao Dongxing Qinyu. Duan Ling Tian disdained to associate himself with the former 2, because they were trying to curry favor with the rich and powerful. For the time being, Duan Ling Tian generals and Duan Ling Tians. However, after listening to their voices, Duan Ling Tian could tell that they were flattering Lu Fenggu. Regardless of whether it was Hu Ji or Kai Wenyu, both of their voices were especially flattering. Only Zhao Dongxing and Qin Yu's voices were a bit normal. Lord City Governor, are you looking for Captain Duan Ling Tian because of the incident at Lai Feng restaurant a month ago? Chen Xianba, the commander of the Black Dragon Army, asked Lu Fenggu, the city governor of Bloody Spectre City. Zhao Dongxing and Qin Yu frowned slightly when they heard Chen Xianba's question. Although they did not have a close relationship with Duan Ling Tian, they did not want to offend him. However, from the Black Dragon Army's perspective, they did not want anything to happen to Duan Ling Tian. The other 2 captains of the Black Dragon Army, Hu Ji and Kai Wenyu, looked at each other. They could see the glee in each other's eyes. Commander Miao Lai Long has already told me that he won't pursue the matter. Since he's not pursuing the matter, it's only natural that I won't pursue the matter as well. I'm here to look for Captain Duan Ling Tian, because I have other matters to discuss with him. I can assure you that I won't make things difficult for him. Therefore, you don't have to worry about that. Chen Xianba, Zhao Dongxing, and Qin Yu's eyes lit up when they heard Lu Fenggu's words. Hu Ji and Kai Wenyu looked at each other again. However, they discovered that the gloating look in each other's eyes had disappeared and was replaced by disappointment. It was obvious they hoped that something would happen to Duan Ling Tian. How's this possible? Lord City Governor said that Commander Miao Lai Long personally told him that he won't pursue the matter? This isn't Miao Lai Long's style. Hu Ji and Kai Wenyu communicated through voice transmission. Their voices were filled with disbelief. They could not figure out why Miao Lai Long, the commander of the Silverworm Army, did not pursue the matter of Duan Ling Tian crippling Yang Kongping. After all, Yang Kongping was not only a captain under Miao Lai Long's command, but he was also Miao Lai Long's brother-in-law. Chen Xianba, Zhao Dongxing, and Qin Yu heaved a sigh of relief. However, at the same time, they found it hard to believe. After all, they knew Commander Miao Lai Long's temper very well. They knew that he was not someone who would let things go easily. Lord City Governor, Captain Duan Lingtian is currently in closed-door cultivation. I'm afraid he doesn't know you're here. I'll call him out now. You're here, Chen Xianba said. After he finished speaking, he looked at Duan Lingtian's tent, intending to wake Duan Lingtian up. No need. However, just as Chen Xianba was about to speak, Lu Fenggu stopped him. Since Captain Duan Lingtian is in closed-door cultivation, I won't disturb him. Let me know when he's done with his closed-door cultivation, and I'll look for him. When Chen Xianba and the others heard Lu Fenggu's casual words, they were dumbfounded. Moreover, the city governor of Bloody Spectre City had told him to wait for Duan Lingtian to come out of closed-door cultivation and inform him, so that he could look for Duan Lingtian. Even Chen Xianba and the commander of the Silverworm army, Miao Lailong, did not receive such treatment. If the two of them were in his place, the city lord of Bloody Spectre City would have said, "That's right. When he comes out of seclusion, tell him to come find me at the city lord's mansion." Yes. Although Chen Xuanba was shocked and did not know why the city governor was so polite to Duan Lingtian, the Chiliarch of the Black Dragon Army, he still responded immediately. I'm done with my closed-door cultivation. Just as Lu Fenggu was about to leave, Duan Lingtian walked out of the tent and looked at Lu Fenggu. Although he had not seen Lu Fenggu before, he knew who he was. However, he knew everyone in the crowd. Therefore, he was able to recognize Lu Fenggu, the city governor of Bloody Spectre City, at a glance. City governor. Duan Lingtian nodded at Lu Fenggu and greeted him casually. He did not greet Lu Fenggu as though he was a superior. Instead, he greeted Lu Fenggu as though he was an equal. As soon as Duan Lingtian finished speaking, Lu Fenggu smiled and was about to respond to Duan Lingtian's greeting. How dare you? How dare you be so rude in front of the city governor? Before Lu Fenggu could say anything, Hu Ji and Kai Wenyu from the Black Dragon Army glared at Duan Lingtian angrily. It was as though they were here to denounce Duan Lingtian for his crimes. At this moment, they only had one thought in mind. He had to perform well in front of the city lord of Bloody Spectre City and win his favor. However, they seemed to have forgotten that Lu Fenggu was very polite to Duan Lingtian. He had even said that he would ask the commander of the Black Dragon Army to inform Duan Lingtian after Duan Lingtian came out of closed-door cultivation. After that, he would personally look for Duan Lingtian. As soon as Hu Ji and Kai Wenyu finished speaking, Duan Lingtian's expression darkened. Lu Fenggu's expression changed as well. How dare you act so presumptuously in front of Chiliarch Duan Lingtian? Lu Fenggu suddenly roared furiously. He raised his hand, and a boundless power swept out, slamming into Hu Ji and Kai Wenyu, who were caught off guard and unable to react, heavily injuring them and sending them flying. Barf. Pfff. Hu Ji and Kai Wenyu spat out a mouthful of blood at the same time. When they finally regained their footing, they looked at Lu Fenggu in disbelief. They could not understand why the city governor of Bloody Spectre City had such a huge reaction. This, Chen Xianba, Zhao Dongxing, and Qin Yu were stunned when they saw this. This what was going on? Previously, they thought the city governor of Bloody Spectre City was only being polite to Duan Lingtian, the captain of the Black Dragon Army. However, it seemed like the city governor of Bloody Spectre City was not only being polite to Duan Lingtian, but he was also being respectful to Duan Lingtian. They could not understand. Why was the city governor of Bloody Spectre City so polite to Duan Lingtian? In fact, even Duan Lingtian himself was slightly stunned at this moment. Earlier, when Hu Ji and Kai Wenyu had shouted at him, he was displeased. Therefore, he was prepared to make a move on them. However, before he could make a move, Lu Fenggu, the city governor of Bloody Spectre City, appeared. This is my first time meeting him, right? Why does it feel like he's not only being polite to me, but he's also taking care of me? Duan Lingtian could not figure it out. Captain Duan Lingtian, may I have a word with you? After punishing Hu Ji and Kai Wenyu, the anger on Lu Fenggu's face disappeared. It was replaced with a smile as he asked Duan Lingtian politely, "What do you think?" "Sure." Duan Lingtian nodded. Then he followed Lu Fenggu and left the valley. Duan Lingtian looked at Lu Fenggu's back as he followed behind him. He could not figure out why Lu Fenggu was so polite to him. Perhaps I'll find out soon enough. There must be something he wants from me. With this thought in mind, Duan Lingtian decided not to dwell on it any longer. In the valley, the high-ranking officials of the Black Dragon Army, led by Commander Chen Xianba, finally regained their senses after Duan Lingtian and Lu Fenggu disappeared from their sight. When they regained their senses, they looked at each other and saw the shock and disbelief in each other's eyes. Nobody said a word. Chapter 26:17. In the sky 1,000 miles away from the Black Dragon Army's camp, Duan Lingtian and Lu Fenggu, the city governor of Bloody Spectre City, faced each other. Duan Lingtian looked at Lu Fenggu calmly, waiting for him to speak. Lu Fenggu looked at the purple-clad young man in front of him. He could not calm down when he recalled how he had gone to the Silverworm Army's camp to verify his identity. The purple-clad young man in front of him, the new captain of the Black Dragon Army, was really someone who had just ascended to the spirit overarching heaven a month and a half ago. Moreover, he was someone who had just ascended to the Heavenly Celestial Ascension Pool. The Heavenly Celestial Ascension Pool was exclusive to eminent celestials from the mundane realms after they ascended to the Devata realms. Eminent celestials could become Crimson Moon Heavenly Celestials through the Celestial Ascension Pool. There were many Heavenly Celestial Ascension Pools in Bloody Spectre City that were controlled by the Black Dragon Army and the Silverworm Army. Those who had just ascended to the spirit overarching heaven from the mundane realm and appeared in the Heavenly Celestial Ascension Pool in Bloody Spectre City would be sent by the Black Dragon Army and the Silverworm Army to mine celestial stones for the Black Dragon Army and Silverworm Army. In the spirit overarching heaven, very few ascenders could escape this fate. Lu Fenggu did not expect this. While he was the city governor of Bloody Spectre City, a monstrous ascender had appeared in the Heavenly Celestial Ascension Pool. As soon as he ascended, he killed a centurion of the Silverworm Army. After that, he left and even infiltrated the Black Dragon Army, becoming a chiliarch of the Black Dragon Army. Moreover, he was stronger than the captains of the Black Dragon Army and the Silverworm Army. In fact, he might not be any weaker than the commanders of the Black Dragon Army and the Silverworm Army. Captain Duan Lingtian. Lu Fenggu looked at Duan Lingtian for a while before he said, "If I'm not mistaken, you must have fought and defeated Miao Lailong, the commander of the Silverworm Army, right? Did he tell you about it?" Duan Lingtian raised an eyebrow in surprise. "No." Lu Fenggu shook his head. "I guessed it myself." Duan Lingtian suddenly understood. He had thought that Miao Lailong wouldn't have told Lu Fenggu about this. After all, once he said it, it would mean that he had completely fallen out with him. Miao Lailong had passed the cultivation method, the crystal clearance tactic, to him, which was a capital offense. Therefore, unless Miao Lailong was out of his mind, there was no way Miao Lailong would turn against him openly. Miao Rulong has been my subordinate for many years. I know his temper and character very well, Lu Fenggu continued to say. If he hadn't fought with you and lost to you, with his temper, there's no way he would have let the matter go so easily. However, I'm very curious. Even if he loses, he can always find me to stand up for him. Even if I'm not your match, I still have the county governor's office behind me. However, he didn't look for me, and even said he has no intention of pursuing the matter. Lu Fenggu paused for a moment before he looked at Duan Lingtian meaningfully and said, "If I'm not mistaken, you must have something on Miao Lailong, right?" Upon hearing Lu Fenggu's words, Duan Lingtian looked at Lu Fenggu in surprise. Based on Lu Fenggu's words, it seemed as though Lu Fenggu had personally witnessed the battle between Duan Lingtian and Miao Lailong. This was truly shocking. Some time ago, Chen Xianba, the commander of the Black Dragon Army, came to look for me and told me you wanted to cultivate the cultivation method I passed to him, the crystal clearance tactic. If I'm not mistaken, Miao Rulong must have passed the crystal clearance tactic to you under your threat, right? Lu Fenggu paused for a moment before he looked at Duan Lingtian meaningfully. Upon hearing Lu Fenggu's words, Duan Lingtian's expression changed slightly. However, Lu Fenggu still managed to catch the change in Duan Lingtian's expression. It seems like I'm right. Upon seeing Duan Lingtian's expression, Lu Fenggu continued to say, You don't have to be nervous. I have no intention of pursuing the matter. Upon hearing Lu Fenggu's words, Duan Lingtian was even more surprised. In his opinion, since Lu Fenggu knew about this matter, he would most likely make a move on him and Miao Lailong. He did not expect Lu Fenggu would say he had no intention of pursuing the matter. It's precisely because Miao Rulong passed the crystal clearance tactic to you that he didn't look for me and asked me to look for trouble with you for the incident from a month ago, Duan Lingtian said solemnly. Lu Fenggu continued to say. Lu Fenggu's words made Duan Lingtian feel as though there was nothing he could hide from Lu Fenggu. Lu Fenggu's deductive ability was truly terrifying. Am I right? After Lu Fenggu finished speaking, he looked at Duan Lingtian with a smile on his face. It's as though you saw it with your own eyes and heard it with your own ears. Duan Lingtian sighed. Following that, Duan Lingtian did not beat around the bush as he asked, Since you have no intention of pursuing the matter, may I know why you're looking for me? I'd like to make a deal with you, Captain Duan Lingtian. Lu Fenggu said bluntly with a glint in his eyes. Since Duan Lingtian was being so direct, there was no need for him to hide anything. A deal? Duan Lingtian raised an eyebrow. What kind of deal? I want to kill someone, but I don't have the ability to do so. As Lu Fenggu spoke, a chilling light flashed in his calm eyes. It was as if he had turned into a venomous snake, sending chills down the spines of those who saw him. It was as though he was reminded of his enemy, who had killed his father and stolen his wife. For this reason, I hope you'll be able to capture that person and bring him to me so that I can kill him with my own hands when you're strong enough. After Lu Fenggu finished speaking, the coldness in his eyes gradually disappeared. Don't you think too highly of me, city governor? Duan Lingtian said indifferently. If you're not strong enough to kill that person, what makes you think I, Duan Lingtian, will be strong enough to capture that person and bring him to you for you to kill? Because you've only ascended to the spirit overarching heaven 1.5 months ago. Because you're only a heavenly celestial. Lu Fenggu said as he stared at Duan Lingtian with a burning gaze. No one believes the words of the Silverworm army. Unless, City Lord, you believe them? Duan Lingtian smiled. Although the Silverworm army said that he was a heaven immortal, who had just ascended to the spirit overarching heaven half a month ago, no one believed the Silverworm army. After all, normally speaking, it was impossible for a heaven immortal, who had just ascended to the spirit overarching heaven half a month ago, to possess the strength to cripple a chiliarch of the Silverworm army with just a single blow. I didn't believe it in the beginning as well. However, under Miao Lailong's suggestion, I went to look for the people who ascended at the same time as you. Lu Fenggu said. Miao Lailong? Duan Lingtian's eyes flashed coldly. He didn't think that Miao Lailong would dare to do something behind his back after the previous incident. There was only one reason why Miao Lailong suggested that Lu Fenggu confirm that he had just ascended to the spirit overarching heaven. He wanted Lu Fenggu to know that Duan Lingtian possessed profound celestial methods and divine abilities. If Lu Fenggu became greedy, he would make a move on Duan Lingtian and steal his celestial methods and divine abilities. After all, in Miao Lailong's opinion, Lu Fenggu was only slightly stronger than him, and might not be a match for Lu Fenggu, the city lord of Bloody Spectre City. Lu Fenggu continued to say, Of course, I know what Miao Lailong is trying to tell me, that the reason you're so strong as a heaven immortal is because you've mastered profound celestial methods and divine abilities. Lu Fenggu continued to say, The reason he told me all this is because he wants to kill you with a borrowed knife. He wants to kill you with my knife. Lu Fenggu's words revealed Miao Lailong's intentions. Apart from that, Miao Lailong also told me that you have a soul defense celestial weapon that's at least mediocre. When he tried to probe your soul with his divine consciousness, it seemed to have been devoured by something before it could even get close to your soul. Lu Fenggu paused for a moment before he looked at Duan Lingtian meaningfully and said, This isn't something that can be done by concealing one's cultivation base. No wonder Miao Lilong didn't use a soul attack on me that day. As it turns out, he was certain I had a soul defense celestial weapon that could block his soul attack when he tried to probe my cultivation base with his divine consciousness. Duan Lingtian thought to himself with a glint in his eyes. As for the item that Lu Fenggu had mistaken for a soul defense celestial weapon, it had to be the defective metal piece. Since you already know my background, don't you want my celestial methods, divine abilities, and the soul defense celestial weapon in my possession? Duan Lingtian asked bluntly as he looked at Lu Fenggu calmly. Indeed, I did think about it. Lu Fenggu replied honestly. However, I dismissed the idea as soon as it appeared in my mind. Why? Duan Lingtian was curious about how Lu Fenggu managed to suppress his greed. First of all, I'm not sure if I'm a match for you. Secondly, even if I'm a match for you, it'll be difficult for me to pry the celestial methods and divine abilities out of you. If you didn't willingly teach me your celestial methods and divine abilities, I wouldn't be able to obtain them. Although this is my first time meeting you, ever since you killed Jian Xiaoping in the Black Dragon Army, and Qin Xianba reported it to me, I've had my subordinates, the Golden Serpent Guards, investigate you. Ever since you became a Chiliarch of the Black Dragon Army, you haven't shown your face much. But from your behavior and the arrogance that you're showing, it's clear that you're not a simple person. Even if I force you, it'll be difficult for me to obtain your celestial methods and divine abilities if you're unwilling. Chapter 26:18. Governor, with your intelligence and courage, it's a waste for you to be the governor of a small city like Bloody Spectre City. Duan Lingtian could not help but sigh when he heard Lu Fenggu's words. I wasn't the governor of Bloody Spectre City in the past. I was a strategist under the county governor of Nine Spectres County. However, I offended someone and was demoted to be the governor of Bloody Spectre City. As Lu Fenggu spoke, he seemed to be reminiscing about the past. His eyes gleamed as he said, Back then, if it wasn't for the county governor thanking me for my many years of service, I might have already been killed by that person. Is that person the governor wants to kill? Duan Lingtian asked with a glint in his eyes when he recalled the deal Lu Fenggu had mentioned earlier. Yes. Lu Fenggu nodded. I'm afraid I'll have to disappoint you. Upon seeing Lu Fenggu nodding, Duan Lingtian shrugged and said, Although I've killed many people along the way, I've only killed those who deserved it. You want me to help you kill someone I don't even know? That's equivalent to killing the innocent. Forgive me for not agreeing to this. Duan Lingtian shook his head when he finished speaking. I haven't even told you what I'm offering, and you're already rejecting me? Lu Fenggu was stunned. I'm not interested in anything, Duan Lingtian said. He had his own principles. Let me tell you a story, Lu Fenggu said. He was not angered by Duan Lingtian's rejection. Instead, he continued to speak. Once, there was a person in the county governor's estate in Nine Spectres County who accepted a direct disciple and treated the disciple as his son. When the disciple grew up, he displayed shocking innate talent and was very proud of it. At that moment, the first revered elder of the county governor's estate in Nine Spectres County, who's only second to the county governor, took a liking to that person's direct disciple. He made that person's direct disciple betray his master and join his sect. The first revered elder of the county governor's estate, who was also the second strongest person in Nine Spectres County, was enraged and killed the first revered elder of the county governor's estate. When that person found out that his direct disciple was killed, he was so angry that he spat out a mouthful of blood. He was unconscious for 3 days and 3 nights. When he woke up, he knew it was impossible for him to avenge his direct disciple with his strength. Therefore, he went to look for the county governor of Nine Spectres County to ask for help. However, in this cruel world, the strong are revered. Although the Lord County Governor is sympathetic to the death of his direct disciple, it's impossible for him to do anything to the county governor's revered elder because of that person's direct disciple. When that revered elder of the county governor's mansion found out that person went to seek justice from the county governor, he wanted to kill that person in a fit of rage. At this moment, the county governor was grateful for that person's great contributions while following him. So he asked that revered elder of the county governor's mansion for some face, and fought for a way out for that person. Although the person survived, it was impossible for him to stay in the county governor's estate. Lu Fenggu did not continue to speak at this point. His eyes, which had become round at some point in time, were suffused with a bloody light and emitted a murderous intent. If that's the case, then the revered elder of the county governor's estate in Nine Spectres County should be killed. Duan Lingtian naturally knew the person in Lu Fenggu's story was Lu Fenggu. However, according to Lu Fenggu's story, the revered elder of the county governor's estate in Nine Spectres County should be killed. However, who knew if Lu Fenggu had made up the story himself? Although Lu Fenggu's emotions were flawless, Duan Lingtian was not 100% certain Lu Fenggu was not lying. I understand your concerns, Captain Duan Lingtian. Although Duan Lingtian did not say anything else, Lu Fenggu had already guessed Duan Lingtian's thoughts. Therefore he quickly added, "That's right, Duan Lingtian." Duan Lingtian continued to say, "How about this? 6 months later, when you visit the county governor's estate in Nine Spectres County, if you find out that my story is false, or if you think the revered elder of the county governor's estate doesn't deserve to be killed, you can choose to ignore our deal. It won't be considered a violation of our agreement." Lu Fenggu said. A year later, the county governor's estate? A puzzled expression appeared on Duan Lingtian's face. A month ago, I received an order from the county governor's estate asking Bloody Spectre City to send 2 young talents with the most potential to report to the county governor's estate under the guidance of a special envoy from the county governor's estate. Although the county governor's estate did not state the reason, I believe it has something to do with King Qin's mansion. Lu Fenggu's eyes gleamed as he spoke. King Qin's mansion? Duan Lingtian raised an eyebrow. This was not the first time he had heard of the King Qin's mansion. Therefore, he knew that the Nine Spectres County was only one of the counties under the King Qin's mansion. All the other counties, including the Nine Spectres County, were under the jurisdiction of the King Qin's mansion. You'll find out when you arrive at the county governor's estate. Lu Fenggu did not intend to waste time on this topic. Soon after, he looked at Duan Lingtian and asked, "Chiliarch Duan Lingtian, I've said enough. Are you willing to make a deal with me now? Since the city governor has given me a way out, it would be unreasonable of me to refuse. However, since it's a deal, what can you give me in return?" Since Lu Fenggu had said that if he felt the revered elder of the county governor's estate was not a person who deserved to be killed, Duan Lingtian was, naturally, relieved. He immediately agreed to Lu Fenggu's deal. At the same time he was curious. What did the city governor of Bloody Spectre City intend to give him? "What I can give you is the best cultivation environment and cultivation resources for the next 6 months," Lu Fenggu said with a glint in his eyes. "City governor, do you intend to let me cultivate in your quiet room?" Duan Lingtian's eyes lit up immediately. The quiet room had the best cultivation environment in the vicinity of Bloody Spectre City. Moreover, Lu Fenggu had said that he was going to give him the best cultivation resources. Apart from celestial stones, there should also be medicinal pills. There were medicinal pills in the Devata realms as well, but they were celestial pills. They could not be compared to the medicinal pills in the mundane realms. However, it was rare to see medicinal pills in a small place like Bloody Spectre City. "That's right." Lu Fenggu nodded. "Although it's said that my quiet room has a better cultivation environment than the tents of the Black Dragon Army and the Silverworm Army, people say it's not that good. However, the truth is that the cultivation speed in my quiet room is twice as fast as the cultivation speed in your quiet room. This is because the heaven and earth spirit energy in the cores of the 2 celestial stone veins is drawn to my quiet room through a formation." Lu Fenggu said. "Twice as fast." Duan Lingtian was shocked by Lu Fenggu's words. It was as Lu Fenggu had said. Previously, he had thought that Lu Fenggu's cultivation room was only slightly better than his current cultivation environment. But the difference was not that great. He did not expect the difference to be so great. "Apart from that, I'll also give you some medicinal pills and prominent celestial stones. The two celestial stone veins in Bloody Spectre City can't produce prominent celestial stones. Only the celestial stone veins near the county city of Nine Spectres County can be mined. These are the things I'm giving you in exchange for our deal. Are you satisfied with these? Lu Fenggu asked as he looked at Duan Lingtian. Deal. Duan Lingtian did not hesitate at all as he agreed to Lu Fenggu's proposal. A smile appeared on Lu Fenggu's face immediately. City Governor. Duan Lingtian recalled Lu Fenggu's words and asked, "You said there'll be a special envoy from the county governor's estate coming to bring me and another person to the county city of Nine Spectres County in 6 months?" Yes. Lu Fenggu nodded. It's a long journey from Bloody Spectre City to the county city of Nine Spectres County. During this journey, there are many powerful celestials who specialize in killing and plundering. There are even many peak golden celestials. Therefore, when the time comes, the county governor's estate will send a special envoy to bring all of you safely to the county city and the county governor's estate. Lu Fenggu said, "There are peak golden celestials? And there are many of them?" Duan Lingtian's heart skipped a beat when he heard Lu Fenggu's words. Fortunately, he had stayed in Bloody Spectre City since he had ascended to the spirit overarching heaven. A peak golden celestial was a violet sun golden celestial. Yes. Lu Fenggu nodded confidently. When I left the county governor's estate and came to Bloody Spectre City, I encountered 3 peak golden celestials who wanted to kill and plunder. Fortunately, I revealed my identity in time. Otherwise, I would have been killed by them. The road from the county city of Nine Spectres County to Bloody Spectre City was the territory of the Nine Spectres County. In this area, the Nine Spectres County was a deterrent. Even the celestials who liked to kill and plunder did not dare to touch the people and cities in the Nine Spectres County. After all, not only would the Nine Spectres County hunt them down, but the King Qin's mansion would also hunt them down if the Nine Spectres County reported this matter. For this reason, nobody dared to covet the 2 celestial stone veins in Bloody Spectre City. As for the powerful celestials who were not afraid of the Nine Spectres County and King Qin's mansion, they naturally did not care about the 2 celestial stone veins in Bloody Spectre City. With my current strength, if I use the Devata artifact, the 7 orifices exquisite sword, even a peak golden celestial might not be a match for me. At this moment, Duan Lingtian also realized that there was no other choice. With his current strength, he could head to the county city of Nine Spectres County alone. However, he was prepared to wait for 6 months. After all, he might not be able to find a better cultivation environment in the county city. Chapter 26:19. When Duan Lingtian and Lu Fenggu left the Black Dragon Army's camp, Chen Xianba, the commander of the Black Dragon Army, spread the news of the incident a month ago to everyone in the Black Dragon Army's camp. The reason why he did this was to stabilize the morale of the army. Since the incident at Lai Feng restaurant in Bloody Spectre City a month ago, most of the soldiers in the Black Dragon Army were worried that something might happen to their new captain, Duan Lingtian. As soon as Chen Xianba spread the news, a commotion broke out in the Black Dragon Army's camp. I knew Captain Duan Lingtian would be fine. I didn't expect Miao Lailong, the commander of the Silverworm Army, to take the initiative to say he won't pursue the matter. This isn't his style. That's right. I've long heard that Miao Lailong, the commander of the Silverworm Army, is a vengeful person. I didn't expect him to take the initiative to say he won't pursue the matter. Did the sun rise from the west today? In the Black Dragon Army's camp, the soldiers were excited. However, they found it hard to believe as well. However, they did not doubt the authenticity of the news. That was because the news came from the Black Dragon Army's commander. The Black Dragon Army's camp was in an uproar. Meanwhile, Duan Lingtian had also agreed to Lu Fenggu's deal. City Governor. Duan Lingtian seemed to have recalled something as he looked at Lu Fenggu and asked, I know the assist-type divine ability I mastered is a brilliant divine ability. However, after cultivating the crystal clearance tactic and tempering my celestial origin energy, I discovered it didn't improve much compared to before. That's normal. Lu Fenggu was in a good mood now that Duan Lingtian had agreed to the deal. He smiled and said, The assist-type divine abilities in the Devata realms rely on one's celestial origin energy and one's cultivation base. For example, even if a heavenly celestial has cultivated a graded cultivation method, and his celestial origin energy has been tempered, he'll still be able to improve his celestial origin energy. However, if he completely grasps a yellow-grade assist-type divine ability, the increase in his celestial origin energy is only one level. Even if he completely grasps a mysterious grade auxiliary divine ability, it can only increase his celestial origin energy by one level. Lu Fenggu said, "That's because his cultivation base is only at the heaven immortal realm." Then, what if a heaven immortal can increase his celestial origin energy by 2 levels by performing an assist-type divine ability when he has yet to cultivate a graded cultivation technique? What is the grade of that support-type divine ability? Duan Lingtian asked. At the same time, he was looking forward to it. This was because the assist-type divine ability, the elementary devouring tactic, was similar to this. Then, the assist-type divine ability that this heavenly immortal cultivates is at least a heaven-grade divine ability. Lu Fenggu replied immediately. At the same time, he looked at Duan Lingtian with a bright gleam in his eyes. It was clear he had figured out something. If a heaven-grade assist-type divine ability is cast by a heavenly celestial who has cultivated a graded cultivation method, it can raise his celestial origin energy by 3 levels. Upon hearing Lu Fenggu's words, Duan Lingtian finally obtained the answer he was looking for. If this is the case, then the assist-type divine ability, the elementary devouring tactic, that I mastered, is indeed not as simple as Elder He said. It's actually a heaven-grade divine ability. Duan Lingtian was overjoyed. In the Devata realms, cultivation methods, divine abilities, and celestial methods were divided into different grades. Currently, Duan Lingtian only knew of 4 grades: Heaven, Earth, Mysterious, and Yellow. Among them, the Yellow grade was the lowest while the Heaven grade was the highest. Naturally, he was overjoyed when he learned the assist-type divine ability, the elementary devouring tactic, was a heaven-grade divine ability. City Governor. Duan Lingtian continued to ask, based on what you said, a heavenly celestial, who cast a heaven-grade assist-type divine ability, would only be able to raise his, or her celestial origin energy, by 3 levels at most. How many levels would the celestial origin energy of a heaven-grade assist-type divine ability increase if the celestial origin energy of a heaven-grade assist-type divine ability was activated? A hint of anticipation could be seen in Duan Lingtian's eyes as he asked these questions. 5 levels. Lu Fenggu replied. Only a great overarching golden celestial, or stronger, can fully unleash the power of a heaven-grade assist-type divine ability. Naturally, even if it's an earth-grade or profound-grade assist-type divine ability, only a great overarching golden celestial, or stronger, can fully unleash its power. After listening to Lu Fenggu's explanation, Duan Lingtian gained a better understanding of the assist-type divine abilities in the Devata realms. The assist-type divine abilities were at the Heaven, Earth, Mysterious, and Yellow grade. Yellow-grade assist-type divine abilities, and profound-grade assist-type divine abilities. Regardless of whether a heavenly immortal had cultivated a graded Devata realms cultivation method or not, he could only raise his celestial origin energy by 1 level. On the other hand, if a golden celestial did not cultivate a graded Devata realms cultivation method, he could only raise his celestial origin energy by 1 level. If he cultivated a graded Devata realms cultivation method, he could raise his celestial origin energy by 2 levels. Raising one's celestial origin energy by 2 levels was the limit of a yellow-grade assist-type divine ability. On the other hand, a great overarching golden celestial could raise his celestial origin energy by 3 levels by casting a profound-grade assist-type divine ability. Earth-grade assist-type divine ability. A heavenly immortal could raise his celestial origin energy by 2 levels at most. A golden celestial could raise his celestial origin energy by 3 levels at most. A great overarching golden celestial could raise his celestial origin energy by 4 levels at most. Heaven-grade assist-type divine ability. A heavenly immortal could raise his celestial origin energy by 3 levels at most. For example, Duan Lingtian, a golden celestial, could raise his celestial origin energy by 4 levels at most. A great overarching golden celestial could raise his celestial origin energy by 5 levels at most. After listening to Lu Fenggu's explanation, Duan Lingtian confirmed it. The elementary devouring tactic was a heaven-grade assist-type divine ability. Governor, what about the other divine abilities? At the same time, Duan Lingtian also wanted to know the grade of his offensive divine ability, the 13 green lotus swords in the Devata realms. The other divine abilities aren't restricted by one's cultivation base and celestial origin energy. Lu Fenggu continued to patiently explain to Duan Lingtian. Soon after, Duan Lingtian learned that the 13 green lotus swords was an earth-grade offensive divine ability. Apart from that, he also learned that the Supreme Sword Dao mental cultivation method, the Sovereign Heart Sword, was equivalent to an earth-grade celestial method. Moreover, it was an offensive and defensive celestial method. Captain Duan Lingtian. Lu Fenggu looked at Duan Lingtian solemnly. Although I don't know the grades of your celestial methods and divine abilities, based on your ability to defeat Miao Rulong, your celestial methods and divine abilities should be heaven grade or above. This was Lu Fenggu's conjecture. Lu Fenggu's conjecture was based on Duan Lingtian's cultivation base being, at most, an orange moon heavenly celestial. Governor, you're wrong. Duan Lingtian shook his head when he heard Lu Fenggu's words. Among all the celestial methods and divine abilities that I've mastered, only the assist-type divine ability is at the heaven grade. The other divine abilities and celestial methods are only at the earth grade. How's that possible? Lu Fenggu looked at Duan Lingtian in disbelief. You've only ascended to the spirit overarching heaven for a month and a half, and you've only joined the Black Dragon Army for a month. Even if you're talented, you'll only be an orange moon heavenly celestial in a month's time. For an orange moon heavenly celestial to defeat Miao Rulong, his celestial methods and divine abilities must be heaven grade or above. Lu Fenggu voiced his conjecture. Governor, your conjecture is correct. Duan Lingtian smiled faintly and said, the problem is, I'm not an orange moon heavenly celestial. A month ago, when I fought Miao Rulong, my cultivation base was already a blue moon heavenly celestial. After I obtained the crystal clearance tactic from Miao Rulong, my cultivation base became an indigo moon heavenly celestial in a month's time. Now, I'm an indigo moon heavenly celestial. Duan Lingtian said. Upon hearing Duan Lingtian's words, Lu Fenggu was stunned. When he regained his senses, he looked at Duan Lingtian in disbelief. How did your cultivation base improve so quickly? However, when Duan Lingtian heard Lu Fenggu's words, he could not help but think of a beautiful figure. She was none other than the mysterious woman, Morong Bing, whom he had met 1.5 months ago, when he had just ascended to the spirit overarching heaven. She was the reason his cultivation base had improved from a crimson moon heavenly celestial to a blue moon heavenly celestial a month ago. After I ascended to the spirit overarching heaven, I obtained some fortuitous encounters. Duan Lingtian found an excuse and said half-heartedly, during the 1.5 months since I ascended to the spirit overarching heaven, my cultivation base has only improved from a blue moon heavenly celestial to an indigo moon heavenly celestial. Naturally, Duan Lingtian knew this was the case. Apart from the yellow-grade cultivation method, the crystal clearance tactic, the reason he was able to become an indigo moon heavenly celestial in such a short time was because he had become an indigo moon heavenly celestial. He had broken through to become a blue moon heavenly immortal a month ago. His cultivation base was very close to that of an indigo moon heavenly immortal. If he had only become a blue moon heavenly celestial a month ago, it would have been impossible for him to become an indigo moon heavenly celestial in such a short time. Most of the credit went to Morong Bing. I see. Lu Fenggu nodded. He could tell Duan Lingtian did not intend to reveal the details. Although he was curious, he did not ask any further questions. However, he could vaguely guess Duan Lingtian's fortuitous encounter had to have come from the little world in the southern mountain ridge of Bloody Spectre City. Previously, Chen Xianba, the commander of the Black Dragon Army, had mentioned this to him. Governor, Commander Chen of the Black Dragon Army, should have told you about me entering the little world in the south. Do you know which sect the celestial weapon, the world-cleansing horsetail whisk, is from? Chapter 2620. I don't know either. Lu Fenggu shook his head when he saw Duan Lingtian's expectant gaze. Upon hearing this, Duan Lingtian was slightly disappointed. The celestial king who left the minor world behind is from the blissful sect. It's a sect that transcends the celestial kingdoms, Duan Lingtian said. Since the powerhouse who entered the little world with you was able to leave the little world alive, it means he's very powerful. His origin must be extraordinary as well. In fact, it's very likely that his sect is on par with the blissful sect. Even if his sect is weaker than the blissful sect, it shouldn't be too far off. Lu Fenggu continued to speak. However, I've been in the county city of Nine Spectres County for many years, and I've never heard of a celestial weapon called the world-cleansing horsetail whisk. If you want to know which sect the world-cleansing horsetail whisk belongs to, I'm afraid you'll have to go to King Qin's mansion, or the capital. I can't say for sure about King Qin's mansion, but if you go to the capital, there's at least a 50% chance you'll be able to find out the origin of the world-cleansing horsetail whisk. Lu Fenggu said. The capital? Duan Lingtian's eyes flashed. He knew the capital Lu Fenggu mentioned was the capital of the intermediate rank Celestial Kingdom. Duan Lingtian, Captain. Lu Fenggu looked at Duan Lingtian and said solemnly, even if your celestial methods and divine abilities aren't all heaven grade, it's best if you keep a low profile when you go to the county city of Nine Spectres County. Even earth-grade celestial methods and divine abilities are coveted by some people. Lu Fenggu reminded Duan Lingtian. Duan Lingtian nodded. He understood the saying, a man's wealth is his own ruin. After chatting for a while, Lu Fenggu brought Duan Lingtian back to the Black Dragon Army's camp. In the same valley, Lord City Governor, Chen Xianba, and the 4 captains of the Black Dragon Army walked out of their tents and bowed respectfully to Lu Fenggu. Xianba, after today, choose a new captain to replace Captain Duan Lingtian. Later, Captain Duan Lingtian will follow me back to the city lord's estate. Half a year later, he and another person will follow the special envoy of the county governor's estate to the county capital and head to the county governor's estate. Lu Fenggu went straight to the point. City Lord, are you saying that one of the 2 spots will be reserved for Chiliarch Duan Lingtian? Chen Xuanba asked. It was clear that Chen Xuanba also knew about this matter. However, of the 4 Chiliarchs behind him, only Qin Yu's eyes flickered slightly, while the other 3 had blank looks on their faces. They had no idea what Lu Fenggu and Chen Xuanba were talking about. Of course, they still learned one thing from the conversation between the 2. In half a year's time, Bloody Spectre City would have 2 spots to head to the county governor's estate. It must be good news for the special envoy of the county governor's estate to come to Bloody Spectre City personally. Zhao Dongxing, Hu Ji, and Kai Wenyu all realized this. Yes. Lu Fenggu nodded and continued. As for the other spot, I'll choose from the Black Armored Army, the Silverworm Army, and the Golden Serpent Guards. 5 months later, before the special envoy of the county governor's estate arrives, I'll set up an arena in the city lord's estate. The Black Dragon Army, the Silverworm Army, and the Golden Serpent Guards. Any golden celestials below the age of 100 can participate in the arena and fight for the other spot to head to the county governor's estate. Lu Fenggu finished speaking in one breath. Hu Ji and Kai Wenyu shook their heads and smiled wryly. They were already over 100 years old. Although they were golden celestials, they did not meet the requirements. Of course, they knew that if there was no age limit, they would not be able to obtain the spot. Even among the Chiliarchs of the Black Dragon Army, the 2 of them could only be considered below average. Zhao Dongxing and Qin Yu, they seemed to be under 100 years old. At the same time, Hu Ji and Kai Wenyu subconsciously looked to Zhao Dongxing and Qin Yu beside them. they discovered that Zhao Dongxing's eyes were displaying bursts of excitement. As for Qinyu, his expression was calm. Could it be that Qinyu is not interested in obtaining the spot at all? That should be the case. Hu Ji and Kai Wenyu looked at each other and communicated through voice transmission. They both thought that Qinyu had given up on obtaining the spot. This Duan Lingtian. At the same time, both of them glanced at Duan Lingtian. A hint of jealousy could be seen in the depths of their eyes. After all, there were only 2 spots, and Duan Lingtian had already decided on one of them. Of course, they knew that Duan Lingtian had already decided on the spot. With Duan Lingtian's strength, even if it was not predetermined, he would still be able to easily obtain one of the slots. Captain Duan Lingtian, do you have anything else to do in the Black Dragon Army? If you have something to do, I'll wait here for you before returning to the city governor's mansion with you. Lu Fenggu smiled as he spoke to Duan Lingtian in a very polite manner. Although Chen Xianba and the others were mentally prepared, they could not help but feel their hearts tremble when they saw this. Usually, unless the county governor's estate sent an envoy to Bloody Spectre City, no one in Bloody Spectre City would be treated so courteously by the city governor. Duan Lingtian was the first person who was treated so courteously by the city governor, even though he was not a special envoy from the county governor's mansion. I'll go and greet my subordinates, Duan Lingtian said to Lu Fenggu before he left the valley to look for his subordinates. Lord Captain, you're leaving? Lord Captain, did the commander of the Silverworm Army, Miao Lailong, go back on his word and make things difficult for you? When Duan Lingtian's subordinates learned that Duan Lingtian was about to leave, their expressions changed drastically. Then they began to ask questions. Lord Captain, I'm the instigator of the incident a month ago. I'll go and look for the commander now. Tong Zheng, a centurion under Duan Lingtian's command, said as he prepared to look for the commander of the Black Dragon Army. Me too. Me too. The 9 soldiers from the Black Dragon Army, who went to Lai Feng restaurant with Tong Zheng, stood up as well. They wanted to follow Tong Zheng to look for the commander of the Black Dragon Army. However, they were quickly stopped by Duan Lingtian. The incident a month ago has come to an end. I'm leaving because the city governor wants me to go to the county city of 9 Spectres County. Duan Lingtian replied. Go to the county city of 9 Spectres County? Upon hearing Duan Lingtian's words, Tong Zheng and the others realized Duan Lingtian was leaving because something good had happened. After all, not everyone could go to the county city of 9 Spectres County. Although Tong Zheng and the others were reluctant to let Duan Lingtian leave, they did not say anything else. All of them obediently bade farewell to Duan Lingtian. If I have time in the future, I'll come back to visit all of you. After saying this, Duan Lingtian left and met up with Lu Fenggu. They left the Black Dragon Army's camp and went to Bloody Spectre City. After entering the city governor's estate, Duan Lingtian was allowed to enter Lu Fenggu's cultivation room. Lu Fenggu also gave Duan Lingtian a spatial ring. Captain Duan Lingtian, there are 100 prominent celestial stones and a bottle of primitive celestial pills, the spirit-nourishing pills, in this spatial ring. Lu Fenggu said, Spirit-nourishing pills? Primitive celestial pills? Upon hearing Lu Fenggu's words, Duan Lingtian's eyes lit up as he looked at the spatial ring in his hand. Although the spirit-nourishing pill was a common celestial pill, it was not something that anyone could obtain. If a heavenly celestial consumed a spirit-nourishing pill without changing his cultivation environment, he would be able to reduce the time needed to break through to the next stage by 1/10. What did this mean? For example, a Crimson Moon Heavenly Celestial would need 100 days to break through to the Orange Moon Heavenly Celestial realm. However, after consuming a spirit-nourishing pill, one would only need 90 days to break through to the next stage. Most importantly, consuming celestial pills and absorbing celestial stones to cultivate did not conflict with each other. They could be used at the same time. Thank you, City Governor. Duan Lingtian weighed the medicinal pill bottle in his hand and confirmed that it was true. There were at least 10 spirit-nourishing pills in the bottle. While Duan Lingtian was cultivating in seclusion, Bloody Spectre City was not peaceful. Miao Lai Long, the commander of the Silverworm Army, said in front of Lord City Governor that he won't pursue the matter at Lai Feng Restaurant. This doesn't seem like Miao Lai Long. In the beginning, Bloody Spectre City was not peaceful because of the matter related to Duan Ling Tian. Although the unrest in Bloody Spectre City was related to Duan Ling Tian, it was not related to the incident in the Phoenix restaurant a month ago. Duan Ling Tian followed Lord City Governor back to the City Governor's estate and was allowed to cultivate in Lord City Governor's private cultivation room? Heavens! I've never heard of anyone being allowed to cultivate in Lord City Governor's private cultivation room. How did Duan Ling Tian do this? How did he gain Lord City Governor's favor? The news from the City Lord Mansion shocked everyone in Bloody Spectre City. Most of the people in Bloody Spectre City found it hard to believe. That Duan Ling Tian, could he be the illegitimate son of Lord City Governor? Some people said, in the Silverworm Army's camp. What? Lord Commander won't pursue the matter at Lai Feng Restaurant? Don't tell me Captain Yang was crippled by Duan Ling Tian. Why would Lord Commander do this? Just as the Silver Dragon Army soldiers were unable to understand this, and were extremely depressed, the Silver Dragon Army suddenly changed their minds. News of Duan Ling Tian going to the City Governor's estate to cultivate in the City Governor's exclusive cultivation room had spread to the Silverworm Army's camp. It did not take long before the news spread to the entire camp. What's going on? When Miao Lai Long, the Silverworm Army's commander, heard the news, his expression changed. Chapter 26-21. However, even if Lord City Governor wants to make him shed tears of gratitude and willingly hand over his celestial methods and divine abilities, there's no need for him to let Duan Ling Tian cultivate in his quiet room, right? Miao Lai Long's expression darkened as he muttered to himself. Even Chen Xianba, and I have never been invited by Lord City Governor to cultivate in his quiet room. As the commander of the Silverworm Army under Chen Fenggu, Miao Lai Long naturally knew how good Chen Fenggu's quiet room was. Putting aside the celestial stones and other cultivation resources, just in terms of the environment, the speed of cultivation in the silent chamber of the City Lord of Bloody Spectre City was 2 times faster than that of Zhang Xian. For this reason, Miao Lai Long had been tempted to cultivate in Chen Fenggu's quiet room more than once. In fact, when Miao Lai Long learned that an ascender had mastered many profound celestial methods and divine abilities, he even thought of taking the ascender's celestial methods and divine abilities for himself, without telling Lord City Governor of Bloody Spectre City. Once Miao Lai Long's strength had increased, he would be able to go to the county governor's estate in 9 Spectres County to replace Lu Fenggu as the new city governor of Bloody Spectre City. At that time, Lu Fenggu's cultivation room would naturally become his. I hope Lord City Governor will be grateful to me for telling him everything after he obtains Duan Ling Tian's celestial methods and divine abilities. He'll teach me Duan Ling Tian's celestial methods and divine abilities, Miao Lai Long thought to himself. However, Miao Lai Long was still unaware that Lord City Governor of Bloody Spectre City was not in Bloody Spectre City. After all, the City Governor of Bloody Spectre City had no intention of taking the Duan Ling Tian's celestial methods and divine abilities. In the City Governor's estate in Bloody Spectre City, in the east of the City Governor's estate, there was a spacious mansion with a large front yard and backyard. This was where Lu Fenggu, the City Governor of Bloody Spectre City, lived. His quiet room was located in the backyard of the mansion. Currently, Lu Fenggu was sitting in front of a stone table in the front yard. He was drinking tea while looking at the flowers and plants in the front yard. No one knew what he was thinking. Lord Castellan, don't you regret not trying to force that Duan Ling Tian to hand over the immortal spells and divine abilities he has mastered? Suddenly, a voice sounded out of nowhere. It seemed to come from all directions and spread to the front yard in the blink of an eye. Along with the voice, an old man with a medium build wearing a black robe appeared. The old man looked ordinary. His aura was restrained, and his eyes were cloudy. Ordinary people would only think that he was an ordinary old man. The most eye-catching feature on the old man's black robe was the golden snake embroidered on his chest. If one took a closer look, they would see that there was an inconspicuous crown embroidered on the head of the golden snake. If I force him, I will really regret it. Lu Fenggu seemed to be used to the old man's sudden appearance. I've asked you to investigate him as well. You should be able to tell what kind of person he is. Do you think he's the kind of person who would be forced? The old man fell silent when he thought about the arrogant purple-clad young man. He's a hidden dragon. Lu Fenggu's eyes flashed as he continued to say, it's better to befriend him than to offend him. I have a strong feeling that he's the only one who can help me get revenge for Qian. Young Master Qian. The old man's body trembled slightly. A hint of affection flashed in his eyes before they turned gloomy again. Among Lu Fenggu's subordinates, he had been with Lu Fenggu the longest. In fact, he had followed Lu Fenggu out of the county city of Nine Spectres County and the county governor's estate to Bloody Spectre City. He had watched Lu Fenggu's direct disciple grow up. Elder Hong. Lu Fenggu's eyes flashed coldly as he said to the old man, if Miao Lai Long finds out that I didn't intend to take Duan Lingtian's celestial methods and divine abilities, and even recommended him to the county governor's estate, he'll definitely be displeased. Perhaps he won't dare to show his displeasure in front of me. However, based on his character, he won't let Duan Lingtian off easily. In fact, he might even leave Bloody Spectre City and head to the county city of Nine Spectres County to spread the news that Duan Lingtian possesses many profound celestial methods and divine abilities. I want you to keep an eye on him. If he shows signs of leaving Bloody Spectre City for the county city, you'll kill him and eliminate his sister and brother-in-law, Yang Kong Ping. Lu Fenggu said viciously, if he tries to harm Duan Lingtian, he'll be stopping me from avenging Qian. At that time, I'll have no choice but to disregard our past relationship. Understood. The old man nodded before he disappeared into thin air in just a blur. Based on Lu Fenggu's words, it was obvious the old man was stronger than Miao Lai Long. That was indeed the case. The old man was the leader of the Golden Serpent Guards under Lu Fenggu. In fact, he was the one who had raised the Golden Serpent Guards. The old man was a Blue Sun Golden Celestial. In terms of cultivation base, he was slightly stronger than Miao Lai Long, who was only a Green Sun Golden Celestial. Moreover, his celestial methods and divine abilities were slightly stronger than Miao Lai Long's. In Bloody Spectre City, the old man's strength was only slightly weaker than Lu Fenggu. I wonder if he'll be able to break through and become a Violet Moon Heavenly Celestial in 6 months. Lu Fenggu muttered to himself as he turned to look at the backyard after the old man left. Naturally, he was referring to Duan Lingtian. However, I don't think it's possible. After all, he has just become an Indigo Moon Heavenly Celestial. But then, Lu Fenggu shook his head as he felt that it was impossible. Duan Lingtian had said he had become an Indigo Moon Heavenly Celestial from a Blue Moon Heavenly Celestial in just a month. However, in Lu Fenggu's opinion, it must have been Duan Lingtian's fortuitous encounter in the little world that had helped him become an Indigo Moon Heavenly Celestial. For this reason, Duan Lingtian was able to become an Indigo Moon Heavenly Celestial in just a month. Therefore, it was impossible for Duan Lingtian to become a Violet Moon Heavenly Celestial from an Indigo Moon Heavenly Celestial in just 6 months. Although it's impossible, I still hope there's a miracle. After all, he's an ascender from the mundane realm, and it took him less than 100 years to achieve what he has today. This means his innate talent is heaven-defying even in the mundane realm. A moment later, Lu Fenggu's dimmed eyes brightened again. He did not know about other places. However, he had never heard of such a person in the Nine Spectres County. He had never heard of an ascender from the mundane realm who was younger than 100 years old in the Nine Spectres County. For this reason, he hoped Duan Lingtian would be able to create a miracle and surprise him. In the cultivation room in the backyard. At this moment, Lu Fenggu had given the cultivation room to Duan Lingtian. Although he could have entered the room to cultivate with Duan Lingtian, he did not do so. Instead, he gave Duan Lingtian a quiet and undisturbed cultivation environment. Duan Lingtian had consumed the primitive celestial pill, the spirit-nourishing pill. He held a prominent celestial stone in his hand as he circulated the crystal clearance tactic and immersed himself in his cultivation. 6 months later, he would go to the county city of Nine Spectres County and the county governor's estate. Once he arrived there, he would meet many powerhouses. Among them, there would be many great overarching golden celestials. Before that, he naturally hoped to improve his cultivation base. That way, his strength would increase accordingly, and he would be able to protect himself when he arrived at the county governor's estate in Nine Spectres County. Currently, Duan Lingtian had familiarized himself with the crystal clearance tactic. The heaven and earth spirit energy continued to flow into his body and turned into a crystal clear liquid that flowed through his heavenly meridian. With the help of the spirit containment pill, the celestial origin energy in his body was constantly changing. It was increasing at a visible rate. Time continued to pass by. In just a blink of an eye, a month had passed. At this time, news that the governor of Bloody Spectre City would select a golden celestial who was younger than 100 years old from the Black Dragon Army, Silverworm Army, and Golden Serpent Guards would be sent to the county city of Nine Spectres County in 5 months. To the county governor's estate? That's great news. If he goes to the county governor's estate, not only will he receive better cultivation resources, but the cultivation environment will also be much better. I heard that the county governor's estate is looking for people from the 9 counties. Each county will be given 2 spots. 2 spots. Didn't they say there's only 1 spot? And the competition will be held in 4 months? You're ignorant, aren't you? Lord City Governor has already given one of the spots to Duan Lingtian, the Chiliarch of the Black Dragon Army. No wonder I heard that Duan Lingtian left the Black Dragon Army and is no longer a Chiliarch. I thought the governor wanted him to stay by his side. I didn't expect him to go to the county governor's estate in Nine Spectres County. Whether it was Bloody Spectre City, the Black Dragon Army's camp, or the Silverworm Army's camp, the news spread like wildfire. Didn't the Silverworm Army say Duan Lingtian is just an ascender who has just ascended to the spirit overarching heaven? Since Lord City Governor has given him a spot, it means he's not even 100 years old, right? How can you believe the Silverworm Army's words when they said Duan Lingtian is just a heavenly celestial who has just ascended to the spirit overarching heaven? I knew they can't be trusted. How can a heavenly celestial who has just ascended be capable of crippling a Chiliarch of the Silverworm Army? They must be kidding. That's right. For the Silver Dragon Army to spread that kind of news, they are obviously playing us like monkeys. Soon after, Lu Fenggu, the city governor of Bloody Spectre City, arrived. After everyone bowed respectfully to him, he announced in a loud voice. The 10 people in the arena began to compete with each other. It was a free-for-all. The last person standing on the stage would be the champion of today's competition. He would be able to accompany the envoy of the county governor's estate to the county governor's estate, in the county governor's estate, in the county governor's estate, in the county governor's estate. Half an hour later, the results were out. He's the last one standing? How's it possible? Chapter 26-24. Alchemy and weapons crafting in the Devata realms are really amazing. If one doesn't obtain a celestial fire, no matter how deep one's knowledge of alchemy and weapons crafting is, it's impossible for one to become a celestial alchemist or weapons craftsman. Besides that, that immortal flame is actually a treasure of the heavens and earth, like immortal herbs, immortal fruits, and so on and so forth. It might be born from underground magma, or it might be born from piercingly cold wind valleys, or it might even be born from deep-sea rivers. Truly miraculous. Duan Lingtian sighed inwardly as he read the information that seemed to have become a part of his memory. However, since celestial fires are treasures, how can they be treasures? After a person obtains it, can it be snatched away by others? Out of curiosity, Duan Lingtian continued to read the additional information in his memory. Once a celestial fire has acknowledged someone as its master, it's impossible for others to take it away unless that person is willing to surrender the celestial fire. Once a celestial alchemist or celestial weapon craftsman dies, the celestial fire in their body will dissipate as well. In fact, they can detonate their celestial fire to severely injure their enemy, or even perish together with their enemy. Naturally, the power of a celestial fire depends on the grade of the celestial fire. For example, once a supreme celestial fire of a supreme celestial alchemist or a supreme celestial weapon craftsman explodes, even an ordinary celestial king would die if they were within 1,000 meters of the explosion point. At this moment, Duan Lingtian discovered that celestial fires were divided into different grades as well. There were primitive celestial fires, mediocre celestial fires, prominent celestial fires, and supreme celestial fires. Naturally, there were many types of celestial fires. In fact, some celestial fires had yet to be discovered. Supreme celestial alchemists and supreme celestial weapons craftsmen. Even if their cultivation bases are not high, celestial kings still have to be respectful to them. After all, if they detonate their celestial fires, even a celestial king would die. Even if they're only primitive celestial alchemists and celestial weapons craftsmen, once they detonate their celestial fires, all great overarching golden celestials within 1,000 meters will either die or be severely injured. Duan Lingtian could not help but gasp when he reached this part of the information. Only then did he realize what kind of existence was the spirit containment pill that he had consumed. Even if that person's cultivation base was not at the level of a great overarching golden celestial, once he chose to ignite the primitive celestial fire in his body, all great overarching golden celestials within 1,000 meters of him would either die or be crippled. Immortal fire. I wonder if I'll be lucky enough to encounter one in the future. Duan Lingtian's eyes flashed as he realized the fearsomeness of the immortal fire. His eyes were filled with anticipation. This memory immortal talisman seems to be recording information related to refining pills and weapons. Soon after, Duan Lingtian took out another memory celestial talisman. The memory immortal talisman contained information on how a celestial alchemist and celestial weapon craftsman should refine pills and herbs. It also contained theories on how to refine pills and herbs, and how to refine weapons and pills. However, even with this basic theory, Duan Lingtian could not help but be stunned. This theory, I don't think it's as brilliant as the theories of alchemy and equipment forging that I came across in the mundane realms and the mortal continent. As Duan Lingtian continued reading, he discovered a problem. In the Devata realms, the standards of refining pills and forging weapons were not much higher than those in the mundane realms. However, he did not expect Duan Lingtian would say he had broken through and become a violet moon heavenly celestial. It seems like I've placed my bet on the right person this time. After a long while, Lu Fenggu finally regained his senses. A hint of excitement could be seen in his eyes as he sighed inwardly. The higher Duan Lingtian's innate talent was, the faster his cultivation base would improve, and the sooner he would be able to exact his revenge. City Governor. When Duan Lingtian recalled he had learned about the child mother floating image celestial talisman, he looked at Lu Fenggu and asked, "Do you have the child mother floating image celestial talisman with the commanders of the Black Dragon Army and the Silverworm Army?" Chapter 26-25. Yes. Although Lu Fenggu did not know why Duan Lingtian would ask such a question, he still nodded in response. His subordinates, the Black Dragon Army and the Silverworm Army, each had a minor floating image celestial talisman that he had given to them. This was so he would know immediately if they were killed. Moreover, he would be able to see the scene and hear the voices through the major floating image celestial talisman. After I became a captain of the Black Dragon Army, Commander Chen didn't give me a minor floating image celestial talisman. Did he forget to give it to me? Or did the other captains of the Black Dragon Army not have one? Duan Lingtian asked. Brother Lingtian, do you think the minor floating image celestial talismans are as common as cabbages? Lu Fenggu smiled wryly. I know there are Dao talismans similar to the minor floating image celestial talismans in the mundane realms. However, those Dao talismans are only useful in the mundane realms. They're useless in the Devata realms. Moreover, those who meet the requirements to ascend to the Devata realms won't be able to bring their belongings from the mundane realms to the Devata realms. The minor floating image celestial talismans are different from ordinary floating image celestial talismans. Ordinary floating image celestial talismans are cheap, but the minor floating image celestial talismans are difficult to inscribe and require special materials. I only have a few minor floating image celestial talismans that were given to me by the county governor. Lu Fenggu continued to say, as the city governor of Bloody Spectre City, I've only given the minor floating image celestial talisman to 3 people. They're Chen Xianba, the Black Dragon Army's commander, Miao Long, the Silverworm Army's commander, and Elder Hong, the Golden Serpent Guard's leader. Elder Hong, the leader of the Golden Serpent Guards? Duan Lingtian raised an eyebrow. Yes. Lu Fenggu nodded. Elder Hong isn't one of the 18 Golden Serpent Guards under my command. In fact, he's the one who raised the 18 Golden Serpent Guards. They're all his disciples. As for Old Hong, he was the one who followed me from the county governor's estate to Bloody Spectre City. He's also the strongest person under me. He's even stronger than Chen Xianba and Miao Long. The fact that Lu Fenggu even told Duan Lingtian, all this showed how much Lu Fenggu valued Duan Lingtian. I see. Duan Lingtian suddenly understood. However, although the mother-child floating image celestial talisman is precious, it's useless in front of a great overarching golden celestial. Even if the victim has a floating image immortal talisman, as long as they are willing, the floating image immortal talisman won't work at all. Lu Fenggu continued to say, for this reason, once you've become a great overarching golden celestial, you'll be able to block the transmission of the floating image celestial talisman to the major floating image celestial talisman. The strength of a Zenith Heaven Golden Immortal is extremely terrifying. Lu Fenggu's expression turned grim as he spoke. Great overarching golden celestial. Duan Lingtian's eyes flashed. This was not the first time he had heard of great overarching golden celestials. In fact, when he was still in the mundane realm, he had heard of great overarching golden celestials more than once. He knew great overarching golden celestials could travel between Devata realms and mundane realms. Naturally, even if great overarching golden celestials could travel between Devata realms and mundane realms, very few great overarching golden celestials would do so. This was because once a great overarching golden celestial went to a mundane realm, they would be tainted by the mundane karma, which would affect their cultivation. Those who were lucky would only have their cultivation speed slow down, but those who were unlucky might not be able to progress any further. Moreover, although you were able to overcome the gap between a heavenly celestial and a golden celestial with your profound celestial methods and divine abilities, that's only because the gap between a violet moon heavenly celestial and a scarlet sun golden celestial is not that big. On the other hand, the gap between a peak golden celestial and a violet sun golden celestial is like a chasm. It can be said that the gap between a violet sun golden celestial and a great overarching golden celestial is huge. For example, if you're a violet moon heavenly celestial, you can easily defeat a scarlet sun golden celestial who has only mastered yellow grade celestial methods and divine abilities. However, if you're a great overarching golden celestial, you can easily defeat a violet sun golden celestial who has mastered a profound grade celestial method and divine abilities with just the yellow grade celestial methods and divine abilities that you've mastered. Many violet sun golden celestials can't break through and become great overarching golden celestials in their entire lives. Once they break through and become a great overarching golden celestial, it means they've truly become a powerhouse in the Devata realms. Although there's still a huge gap between them and those who are stronger than them, they're strong enough to look down on heavenly celestials and golden celestials. Lu Fenggu's words made Duan Lingtian realize the difference between a great overarching golden celestial and an ordinary golden celestial. That was a gap as wide as a chasm. In the Devata realms, only great overarching golden celestials were considered true powerhouses. City Governor, are there any great overarching golden celestials in Nine Spectres County? Duan Lingtian asked with a solemn expression. Yes. Lu Fenggu nodded. There are two great overarching golden celestials in Nine Spectres County. One of them is our county governor. As for the other person, Lu Fenggu's eyes flashed with hatred when he mentioned the other person. It was as though he was about to devour Duan Lingtian. The other person is the first revered elder, who killed your direct disciple, and forced you to leave the county governor's mansion in Nine Spectres County, to come to Bloody Spectre City. Isn't that the first revered elder? Duan Lingtian smiled wryly. Based on Lu Fenggu's reaction, he could guess who the other great overarching golden celestial in Nine Spectres County was. Yes, it's him. Lu Fenggu took a deep breath to suppress the hatred in his heart before he nodded. A great overarching golden celestial? Governor, you're really good at making things difficult for me. Duan Lingtian shook his head and said, although Lu Fenggu had promised Duan Lingtian that if he felt that Duan Lingtian should not be killed after he arrived at the county city of Nine Spectres County, it would not be considered a breach of the promise. However, after spending some time with Lu Fenggu, Duan Lingtian had a better understanding of Lu Fenggu's character. Lu Fenggu was most likely not lying to him. There was a high chance that the other person should be killed. For this reason, Duan Lingtian knew he would not be able to escape from this agreement. With your celestial methods, divine abilities, and the ability to steal other people's celestial weapons, you might be able to defeat him even if you haven't become a great overarching golden celestial. With your innate talent, it won't take long for you to break through and become a violet sun golden celestial, a peak golden celestial. As long as you become a violet sun golden celestial, you'll be able to overcome the gap between a golden celestial and a great overarching golden celestial. You'll be able to capture him and bring him to me so I can kill him. Lu Fenggu said confidently. The gap between a great overarching golden celestial and an ordinary golden celestial was huge. However, with the various means that the purple-clad young man had mastered, it was possible for him to cross that gap and defeat a great overarching golden celestial with his cultivation base of an ordinary gold celestial. Governor, you really think highly of me. Duan Lingtian smiled wryly again. It's not that I think highly of you, but you have the potential. Lu Fenggu looked at Duan Lingtian meaningfully before he changed the topic. Brother Lingtian, what did you do after leaving the city governor's estate today? I went to buy some memory celestial talismans that recorded the basic knowledge of the Devata realms. After all, I've just ascended to the Devata realms, so there are many things I don't know yet. Duan Lingtian said. That's true. Lu Fenggu nodded. When I first ascended to the Devata realms, I didn't know much about the Devata realms either. It was only after I completed my service in the celestial stone mine in another city that I regained my freedom, that I learned about the Devata realms. The city governor is also an ascender. Duan Lingtian was surprised. Yes. Lu Fenggu nodded. A hint of reminiscence could be seen in his eyes as he said, it's been more than 1,000 years since I ascended to the spirit overarching heaven. At that time, I wasn't as strong as you. I was captured and sent to the celestial stone mine as soon as I ascended. It's been more than 1,000 years But you still haven't become a great overarching golden celestial? Duan Lingtian did not expect Lu Fenggu had ascended to the spirit overarching heaven for such a long time. Do you think everyone is like you? Lu Fenggu said with a hint of annoyance when he heard Duan Lingtian's words. Even I'm considered one of the most talented ascenders. After ascending for more than 1,000 years, I've already become an indigo sun golden celestial. Back then, it took me a few decades to become an indigo moon heavenly celestial and become a violet moon heavenly celestial. However, it only took you a few months. Although the cultivation environment and resources I enjoyed back then were not as good as yours, your innate talent is heaven-defying compared to those who have ascended from the mundane realms. Lu Fenggu continued to praise Duan Lingtian for his heaven-defying innate talent. Even though I've ascended to the spirit overarching heaven for more than 1,000 years, I've never heard of anyone who managed to break through from an indigo moon heavenly celestial to a violet moon heavenly celestial in just a few months. Apart from that, I've never heard of anyone with monstrous innate talent in the Devata realms who managed to break through 2 cultivation bases in such a short time. Lu Fenggu continued to say. Lu Fenggu was shocked by Duan Lingtian's innate talent. Upon hearing Lu Fenggu's words, Duan Lingtian smiled faintly. He was not surprised by Lu Fenggu's words. After all, he had 99 heavenly veins. He was not an ordinary celestial. City Governor. You're tuning in to the Li Mei's Wuxia Whispers YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support. And don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.